Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
And welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on a wild. This is one of the craziest episodes we've ever had, and I've been saving it for a long time, for years now. This is episode 350, by the way.
Holy shit!
Kind of a milestone episode here, 350, and this is one I've been saving for long time. It's not going to be one part. This is going to be multiple parts. Not sure if it's 2 or 3. We'll see how it goes. Okay. But this guy is like if he's like what Tupac was. If Tupac's rapping persona was a human being, it would be Sonny Liston, and that's what we're going to talk about today because it's bonkers, man. This guy is a straight fucking gangster, no doubt about it.
Wants to be a thug?
Oh my God, wants to be.
Yeah.
This is the craziest life, the craziest childhood. I swear to God, I'm not going to do any jokes and make some shit up today.
Right.
This is all real, so you can invest in it. It's wild stuff. Before we get to it, very, very quickly, thank you for all that you do for us.
Yeah.
Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Oh.
New merchandise is up, and also tickets for live shows. Full slate of Small Town Murder live shows for the rest of the year. They're all on sale. Some of them are sold out. A bunch of them are selling out.
It's unbelievable.
Minneapolis, San Diego just sold out. They're all selling out quick. Denver, Boston. So get in there. Chicago is the one we're pushing April or August the 12th. Be in Chicago. And then also May the 5th in Detroit. May the 6th in Pittsburgh will be there. So check those out. And the 420 virtual live show.
Oh.
You want to see crazy weed smoking apparatus taken out and shown to Jimmie and having him have to smoke out of it? That's the night to do it. While I tell him a murder story with crazy shit. So get in there and get those tickets. That's April the 20th. It's available for 7 days after that to buy, watch, do whatever the hell you want with it. We don't care. Get those. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all the bonus stuff for Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder. Anybody $5 or above, you get the whole back catalog of bonus shit, hugely bingeable, and you're going to get 2 new episodes every other week. 1 Crime and Sports, 1 Small Town Murder, and you get it all.
You bet.
This week is no different. For Crime and Sports, what we have, they're back, baby. Personal ads are back.
Oh.
It's been a while. It's been 6 months or so. It's personal ad time again, one of our most popular ongoing series for Patreon. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about in our serial killer childhood series again, see what made this monster. We're going to talk about BTK Killer's childhood. So BTK's childhood. And it is... God, he's so weird. Just the way he describes
little Dennis
everything.
the Menace?
Oh, my goodness. We'll talk all about that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And you will, of course, get a shout out at the end of the show where Jimmie will fuck your name up more than likely.
For sure. Yeah.
And certainly if it's Italian, he'll mess it up. So it's going to be fun stuff. So get on that. Do that. That said, let's do this, Jimmie. We got to dive right in because we got a lot of gangster happening this week with Charles L. Liston. Better known as Charles, old Chucky Liston over here.
Yeah.
Better known as Sonny Liston, obviously. And if you don't know who Sonny Liston is, it's not, you don't have, because I mean, he's well before our times. Our time, he was fucking dead well before either one of us were born. So it's not like, we have fond memories of Sonny Liston, but number one, as a fighter, he has one of the most famous, I'd say top 5 most famous sports photographs of all time. He's in it. He's in it. And that is Muhammad Ali standing over a fallen opponent with his arm crooked, yelling. That picture that we've all seen everywhere. The guy on the ground is Sonny Liston. And it's really strange because for such a great fighter that did so much to basically be known now as
Summed up,
that guy in that picture that Ali fucking knocked out is crazy. It's just crazy because he did, number one, never mind the boxing and all that kind of shit. The crime he did should be remembered. He's a Hall of Fame criminal, this guy. It's intense, man.
Yeah.
And,
what does the L stand for in
cannot find out.
It's a Ulysses S. Grant thing?
I think it's one of those. Nobody has it's funny as shit. Don't know why. Now, he's born in Sand-Slough, Arkansas.
Sand-Slough.
Or Stan-Slough, Slough. So I think it's Slough, Sand-Slough, Arkansas. I don't know. But I'm going to say, before he's even born, Grace. I'm going to say Grace. And I say that for a reason, not just to say, oh, his family sucked. Okay, there's certain facts that we know most of the time, okay? We know certain things. We'll say this is his name, this is where he's from, he was born here at this place, and this is the date he was born on. Now, there are some guys, old-timey guys, where we'll go, we don't know an exact date of birth. We just know he was born in 1909 or 1911. This guy, we don't know his year of birth, number one, which is strange, and you go, wow, how do we not know? But the fucked up part is he doesn't know his year of birth either. Right? And to top it all off, his mother's not sure about it either.
How does she not know? Wasn't she there?
That's why it's Grace right away. If you don't remember pushing something his head is huge. Pushing that from your vagina, well, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
She forgot what year it was. He's so big.
I'd remember the exact time, the second when that happened, because holy shit.
He's Trixie from fucking Deadwood.
It just doesn't even remember. I don't know. Around this time. This is insanity. So let's just start at the beginning here with Sonny Liston and try to figure out what the hell happened with his date of birth and all that sort of thing. Little bit of background on his parents, because this helps. He's born into a sharecropping family.
Oh, another one of these.
So family of sharecroppers, and he's born in the
Arkansas.
late 20s, early 30s. So height of the Depression. Of the Depression.
Damn it.
Sharecropping during the height of the Depression is tough business.
It is shocking that we know his name.
That's what I mean, that he survived all of this.
Yeah.
And the land they had was shit farmland, too. They didn't even have good farmland. They had bad farmland during the Depression. And wait till you hear the family situation. You go, oh, how do you not just kill everybody? How do you not nail the door shut, burn that place down, blow your brains out? You know what I mean? Say, this is best for all concerned. Because it's honestly
doing us all a favor.
The strength you have to not do that is remarkable. It really is, because I think I would. It was the land of the Morledge Plantation near Johnson Township, Arkansas. His father's name is Toby Liston. And
that's a cool name.
Toby Liston. That is a cool name. It sounds tough. Toby Liston will kick your ass. You know?
I like that name a lot.
He'll kick your ass. He'll kick all his children's asses, too.
Is that right?
Oh, boy, Toby. If you were a sharecropper during the Depression and you had as many kids as we're going to talk about, you'd have to just have a belt out at all times. You have to have two belts, one to wear, one just to hold and swing around from time to time, because it's bonkers, man. He was in his mid-40s when he and his wife here, Helen is his wife, Toby and Helen are the parents, they moved. She, by the way, is in her, 20s, and he's in his late 40s or whatever when they move. So they moved from Arkansas from Mississippi to Arkansas in 1916. They came. So it's just tough going all around. I mean, he was born. Shit, and if he's 1916, he was in his 40s already. He was born in just post-Civil War. Boy. I mean, in Mississippi. Oh. And then going to Arkansas, which was not much better. So that's tough. Helen had one child before she married Toby. Okay? So she had a kid already, married Toby as a teenager. And then Toby he was already married and divorced. With his first wife, he had 13 children already.
Holy.
13 children.
Coming into this with double Brady Bunch. 14 between the two?
Between the two. Then, together, Toby and Helen have 12 children.
What?
12 children. together.
26 children.
There are
between
26 total children.
That man, Toby made 25 human beings.
25 people Toby made. That's too many for one person. Even no matter how great your genetics are, too many people have your genes walking around.
25.
Just you think about the exponential growth of, how things work. People fucking, and this one begats this one who begats that one. 2 generations, people are going to fuck each other and not even know it. And they're related. That's what's going to go on when you have that many people. Too many people. Too many people.
And at that point, it's like multiplicity. You're going to have some that are not good.
Yeah, it's not good at all. And Sonny is the second to youngest as well. So
he's almost the last.
Yes.
The drip drop of the jizz.
He's the kid on the wire that comes out where Wallace tells him to share with the other kid. That's why he's one of those kids where he's like, I don't have juice boxes for both of you. You got to share with him.
Have a sip of his.
Yeah. Sonny was just hardly more than a wet spot, honestly, at this point. His dad must have been running jizz dry, right? The well must have been running sort of dry.
For sure, at the end of it.
My God. So they ask him about his family, and he says, there's so many quotes from Sonny Liston in this, which is fucking amazing. And we haven't even gotten to when he was born yet. This is just his family. This is pre-birth. That's why this needs multiple parts, because it's so fucked up.
There were 24 children running around before he was born.
Before he was born, and it's so fucking crazy that his dad is just putting that many children out there.
That's unbelievable.
How horny are you? Like, enough already.
At that point, it's just that's to kill the boredom, right?
You have to realize there are consequences to your horniness by this point. You know what I mean? While you're sharecropping, trying to feed these mouths, like
you can't be bored. You've got so many children to feed. How are you bored?
Then
I
again,
don't even have time to fuck.
You have like an army of sharecroppers now to help you. So that's
maybe you've got nothing to do.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. That's so strange. So Sonny says, quote, "Let's see. My mother had either 12 or 13 children.
Either.
No, I'm sure it was 13. Then they asked him, could you name them? And he could only account for 9 of them, though.
That's impressive in itself. I can't believe it.
That's not bad, but you should probably get all 12, I would imagine.
It's like a third.
Yeah, you can get them. He said, E.B. Ward, he's the oldest, a boy child, almost 40 years old now. This is back when he did this interview. It's been a good while since I seen him. Next comes J.T., always called him Shorty. Probably just because he couldn't remember JT. It's easier, that many people.
EB and JT? Are they?
EB, JT, and he's close behind EB. After JT, there's Leo, and then he's simple Leo. Very easy. Yeah. You're going Leo with him. Then my sister's Clarity with an E, Clarity, Annie, Alcora, Curtis, not Curtis like Curtis Mayfield, Curtis with an ICE at the end to make it, now it's a girl's name, Curtis. Now you can name your girl Curtis.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Like Justice.
Wow. Curtis. That is not, I picture a big man when I picture Curtis. I don't want to name my girl Curtis. Me and Wesley. Annie and me was closest, and I see a lot of her. She always kids me because I was bigger than her, yet she would rock me to sleep. Curtis and JT get together with me sometimes, and I saw Wesley, the baby, in 58 or 59, but the others have wandered off someplace.
Who knows where they are? By then there's a couple that are dead, right?
The shit knows. It has to be. A couple dead, one's in prison.
Yeah.
One is doing this, one is just by odds. I mean, you have
that's too many free-range children.
Such a huge sample size. Really, anything has to be going on at this point, right? One of them's president and one of them's murdered when they're 14. Like, there's no difference. Now, the mystery of his birth, let's talk about here. Here's the date they use sometimes. Here's the sometimes date that seems to be the most common date used. May 8th, 1932. Okay. Now, Sonny, Jesus Christ. Sonny says, his father once told him, or an older person once told him, your father was a champion in his own right once he became heavyweight champion because he fathered 25 kids. That's pretty impressive.
That's a king.
That's a king. Your father's done something. Give him a belt of some kind. Hopefully a chastity belt. Give him. Never mind a championship belt. He needs a belt that keeps him from fucking more.
Make it out of gold, whatever it takes.
Wow. Yeah, whatever it takes to do. Put a couple diamonds on it. I don't care. Make it fancy, but
Just keep him from fucking out of it.
no shit. There's no official record of Sonny Liston's birth because Arkansas did not require mandatory birth certificates until, I'll give you a guess what year.
1974.
It's 65, which is just as bad.
What the fuck?
The 60s.
There are
Yeah.
people still alive today that do not have a birth certificate.
Yeah, there was color television and people were being born without anything being written down.
There's a man on
Nothing.
the moon, and they were not writing anything.
Not quite yet, but they were planning it and
Wasn't
working
it
on
60,
it.
was it
69.
69.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
civil rights just passed and all that
Yeah.
shit. Still, though,
JFK's been murked. We're still
Yeah.
not writing. We're
don't
still
worry
not
about
writing
it.
it down.
Yeah. Just keep an oral history. Everybody remember when little Sonny
The
was born.
Camaro exists.
It 65?
I
Was
think
it
so. I think it's
67?
67.
67. Almost. But the Mustang comes out this
The
year.
Corvette certainly exists.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's been 8 years
The
of
Corvette
Corvettes or
is
7.
rolling around on the street, and we're
Looking
not
like hot
writing
shit.
down.
People are cruising around in 63 Stingrays with the split back window and
And
no
nobody knows
writing
their
it down.
birthday.
Nope. Don't care. It's all good. Now, it was written down, though, his
Yeah.
birth. Not officially in a birth certificate. You know where they wrote it down, Jimmy?
Carved it down on the bedpost.
That would make sense, actually. But no, this is worse. He was carved on a tree, he told people. But then the tree was chopped down.
Yes, and now what?
No one bothered to take note of the birth date fucking carved into the side of it. No one bothered to go, hey, should we write that part down? This seems like important information. Nope.
If you got to remember 25 days throughout the year to give a gift or bake a cake, you might forget one. That's for sure.
Yeah. But it's easier to write something than carving it into a
Yeah,
tree. That's
for
what I don't
sure,
understand. Just write it down. Jot that shit down quick. Sonny.
Preferably
10,
in-
12, 29. I don't give a fuck. Who cares?
Preferably in the hospital.
That would be terrific.
By
But
a man with a PhD.
I don't think they weren't having kids in the hospital.
No, I'm sure they
No,
weren't.
these are home births.
Yeah.
These are definitely home births. Now, when he's arrested in 1950, he gave his age as 22, which would make his date of birth 1928 or 27, depending on if he had a birthday yet. When he filed for a birth certificate for legal reasons in 1953, because, he needed to exist officially to, do things, he said his date of birth was May 8th, 1932, which is 4 years later than he said then. So he said he's younger then at that point. Then in 1960, he will testify before a U.S. Senate subcommittee. Oh, yeah, he gets that deep.
Serious.
He said then, they said, well, your name and date of birth and all that. And he said he was born in 1933 to the Senate. So over like a 10-year period, he changed his date of birth from 28 to 33. So we have no idea.
That's awesome.
His mother said he was born on January 8th, 1932. That's what his mother said. Okay. But that's not really all that. This is so murky. There's a little larva swimming in it, like mosquito larva and shit. And the water's that murky.
Do we know when his youngest brother is born or sister? Youngest
Jimmie.
sibling. Because because we could nail down his date based on that, right?
From what I understand, his youngest sibling's born somewhere between 29 and 34, probably, if he's somewhere between 28 and 33. That's all I know. So his mother said January 8th, 1932, and she said the date was recorded in a family Bible, but the Bible was lost somewhere along the way. So sometimes when asked, she says January 8th, 1932. Sometimes she said it was January 18th, 1932.
Oh, my God.
She said, quote, I know he was born in January. So we have that. Why? They say, quote, it was cold in January.
Okay.
So Sonny Liston was born when it was cold sometime between 1928 and 1933. at a cold moment at some point. We're not quite sure when.
Mom needed blankets that day. That's why I remember.
Yes.
Why don't you? How about the fact you just had a baby? Remember that because there's a baby in the room now.
It's carved in a tree outside. If you want to go, we just carved it in a tree. So up that tree, we chopped it down. Never mind. I don't know what is happening, man.
You have responsibility to keep another person alive. I don't know which day that started. What? What are you talking about?
Didn't she ever take the kid to the doctor and they go, how old is she? Beats the shit out of me. I don't know. When he's like 7, that would be a big swing. Either 3 or 7. I'm not sure.
I know it was cold.
He was born when it was cold, if that helps. Here he is and plops him up on the table. What the fuck is that? Come on, man.
It was cold.
Like, I get poor. Poor is one thing. You know? I get it.
Yeah, but it was cold.
It was cold sometime between this year and this year. I know Roosevelt was president. I know Hoover was president. Or maybe not, because Roosevelt was elected in 32. Shit, I don't know. God damn it. Maybe. Hold on. Huh. It was either Hoover or Roosevelt. I'm not sure. One of the two.
That is amazing.
That's fucking wild. Now, a Liston biographer, Nick Toshis, he said that a sibling's birth was registered as January 8th, and she mixed them up. So she just was like, must have mixed her Sonny up with somebody else that was born January 8th. So maybe it wasn't cold. We don't know. We have no idea. See what I mean? All this information. Where are we? Back to nothing.
Nowhere.
We know no information.
We've gone nowhere.
Sometime in the 20s or 30s, Sonny Liston was born. That's all we know.
Stuck in the Arkansas muck.
Stuck in the Arkansas mud. There's mud in the tires? I never heard of that before. How do you get mud in the tire? I never heard of that before. All right. So, other times, when asked later on by biographers and journalists and such,
people that would love to know,
she said he was born between 1929 and 1930, which is way different from 32. I don't know what to say here, man. Then
sometime in this 12 to 24 month period.
Yes, sometime in there, possibly. But she said sometime then, but then a year later, she told another writer that she, quote, thought he was born in 27, which is a whole new year we've now introduced to this. We're putting a whole new year into this bad boy.
You don't understand. Times were tough and it was cold.
I don't know. I was very cold.
Nobody in the country had a dime. It was cold, and our fucking sharecropping was all fucked out.
It was all we had. The ground was shit. But you know what was fertile? My uterus. Extremely fertile. That's what was fertile.
My uterus and his balls were more fertile than this ground.
I mean, the ground sucked, but man, could we make kids. We couldn't. The sharecropping of actual crops was hard, but the sharecropping of children, very easy.
We were sharecropping the fuck out of my uterus.
They were great at making kids. So now it's sometime between 27 and 33, okay?
It's a big window.
Yeah, but then a boxing writer here that followed Liston a lot said that he thought she confused the year of his birth with the year of another sibling, which was 27. So now it's the dates, the month, and the years with two different siblings they're confusing. And another time, she said she believed that his birthday was July 22nd. Which is not cold at all in Arkansas.
No,
it's very hot.
So
it's
hot.
The middle of it's like the dead center middle of the summer is what that is.
Tornado warning central. You would know.
If you go, when's the hottest time? You go, I don't know, like July 22nd, probably. So he was born.
It's like the longest day of the year, too.
It is. So just to be clear, he's born sometime between the Hoover administration in the early Franklin Roosevelt administration, sometime between 27 and 33.
And it was either
the hottest, longest day of the year, or it was cold.
Ice fucking cold.
We're not sure. What I'm saying is we have no utter fucking clue when this man is born.
And the more she talks, the more confused we are.
The more confused we are. Over the years, she says more and more, and they go, well, that didn't help at all. We're looking for clarification, and instead, now that you've added another year to the mix, we were at least narrowing it down from 28 to 33. Now you're throwing 27 in there.
That is one way to get us off the trail of when his actual birthday is.
This is fucking crazy, man. I'm sorry, but
awesome.
To not know anywhere near it. Jesus Christ, man. So when the records of the 1930 U.S. Census were released in 2002, access to personally identifiable information from the records is restricted for 72 years at that point. So when it finally came up, Liston's name was not, Sonny wasn't on that census.
Oh.
So when they finally got to look at it, he wasn't listed. So possibly born after the 1930 census was taken, which is like in 1929. So maybe born after 29, but maybe not. Maybe they just didn't mention that they had a baby or a kid that wasn't born for 2 years or a 3-year-old. Maybe they didn't mention it. We don't know.
I wonder what was happening that either made them confuse it or made them not want to talk about it.
I think there's just so many. I think they just forgot. I think they're so busy and life is so hard. And it's so difficult just to put food on the table for this massive family that I think it's and there's so many kids, you just forget. I plumb forgot. I don't fucking know. Birth certificates come in handy.
It's escaped me.
I done forgot. So I would. I mean, I might forget too. Shit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, you ever stop and go, oh, fuck, what is that one date? Imagine having 25 kids. You wouldn't remember any of those dates.
That's how busy they are just trying to survive. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about how fucking broke people behave. When we're that broke, the most common sense shit escapes. It's
survival.
Who cares?
Survival takes
a breathe.
Yeah, survival takes all your energy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when you're playing The Sims.
Yeah.
And you don't like turn any of the things off, and you have to like make them eat and make them shit and make them sleep and make them do it. You have no time for anything else.
Nothing.
All you're doing, they're constantly hungry or shitting or pissing themselves or upset about fucking Jesus Christ. You just shit. What is wrong with you?
Why do I have to tell you?
Why? Why do I have to take you in there again? Hold it. Be an adult, for Christ's sake. You're yelling at these computer people because they have to piss again.
But
then
that's
they're
what
tired.
it is. At bare minimum, when you have bare minimum, that's all you're focused on because you can't
No
do
time.
You can't.
No time. So now 1940, those census records, they had a Charles L. Liston on the Liston family card, and they listed his age at 10 at that point. So he might have been born in 1930, but at the same time, we don't know if they just said like 10-ish. You know what I mean? We don't know.
The size of a 10-year-old looks good.
That's fucking wild. So the date that they try to give him of like maybe this is the one, this Toledo Springs or Springs Toledo is his name. It doesn't really matter. It's a guy's name, so it's a silly name either way. So he says he believes that Liston may have been born July 22nd, 1930. That's the best guess we have is July 22nd, 1930.
When Mom says it was cold,
and then she says it might have been July. It's difficult.
Ruins everything.
Kind of fucks the whole deal up here. So now, during his youth, either way, we know he was born at some point.
He was alive. Yeah, I've seen pictures of him. Yeah.
It's never taken us 29 minutes to establish birth on this show before, by the way.
It's the greatest thing that ever happened.
Usually that's 30 seconds. He's born here. Here's his family. 29 minutes to establish a birth date, and we failed, by the way. We didn't actually establish it. We
don't know.
We don't know. No one knows, so how the hell are we going to find out? We're just making fun of everybody else's mistakes.
We have to time travel to be there to know.
Well, you have to. So
it's amazing.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them, or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity, built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
During his youth, he said that Toby beat him so bad that the scars were still visible when he was an adult from his beatings.
Oh, my God.
Sonny said, quote, "The only thing my old man ever gave me was a beating." Which is one of the better quotes of all time, by the way. Let's not just blow past what an incredible quote that is for crime and sports. The only thing my old man ever gave me was a beating. That is classic crime and sports there.
It's a real Joker, want to know how I got these scars kind of moment, too.
Absolutely.
It's not good.
He said that when the weather was good, I'd work in the fields, and when it was bad, I'd go to school. So he went to school when it rained, man, or like when it was cold out.
Wow.
And there was no cropping to be done. He'd go to school then. So
that's like a third of the days.
Sometimes he'd go to school.
Yeah.
He said, "My father worked me hard. Sure, I'd get to fooling around when he wasn't looking, but he'd catch me and whoop me." And I mean whoop with a U, he says. Catch me and whoop me. Man, I bet I caught a whooping every day. If I didn't, I wouldn't know what to do. That was just the way he knew he was alive, was to get beat. So might as well go into boxing.
Yeah.
He said, if my father missed a day, I'd have to go wake him up and ask, "How come you didn't whoop me today?" Wow. Wow, that's something. Hey,
so sad.
You alive? I haven't gotten a beating today. Smack.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Jesus, good. Okay. No, Dad's fine. Dad's fine.
He's alive.
My lip is bleeding.
Yeah.
I was 13 when my father and me got in this fight, and he whooped me. By this time, I figured I was too big to be whooped. Like he figured he was too big to be getting beat like a kid.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be beating me anymore. Now I'm an adult. Now it's a fight, not a beating type of thing. So I decided to run away to St. Lou. I assume he means St. Louis. St. Lou, where my mother was staying with Alcora and Curtis. So Mom had already taken off away from this asshole. Wow. So anybody who has 25 kids, you really have to question their A, judgment, and B, responsibility, I would say. So.
Yeah. And that's a bummer too for her, because if we're in this lifestyle of like being obviously not very well off, to leave, you have to choose. You have to do the Sophie's Choice thing and decide which ones to leave behind.
Got to leave these ones, that's wild. And just to be, Dad had a tough life working in that field, and who knows what the hell he grew up like. So.
Right.
This is not making an excuse for him, but holy shit, like this whole family, it's hard. There's a cycle that needs to be broken here. In 1946, Mom here, Helen, she moved with some of her children to St. Louis to work in a factory. And then Sonny, he says around age 13, remained in Arkansas with his father. So he says he was 13 when she left in 46. So that would make him born in 33. So we have again, we're fucking confused. It's not 1930 anymore. I don't know is what I'm saying. He said, one morning I got up early and thrashed the pecans off my brother-in-law's tree and carried the nuts to town and sold them. That gave me enough money to buy a train ticket to St. Louis. So he went poaching pecan to get out of there. I figured the city would be like the country, and all I had to do was ask somebody where my mother lived, and they'd tell me she lived down the road a piece.
Good luck, son.
Down the road a piece, he said. Just show up in St. Louis. You know where this lady is? Oh, she lives down the road a piece. That's, wow.
And then you just walk over yonder in that direction.
Yeah, yonder? Oh, okay, yonder. Thanks. I'll be moseying on yonder here. So
it's amazing anything got accomplished back then when they'd say yonder
Christ.
and a piece.
And
how
a
would
piece.
you know how far a piece is?
Make a left at the old Macintosh barn, like that
go
used
down
to
a
be
piece.
there. Yeah, and go down a piece yonder. Get the fuck out of here.
What?
He said, quote, but when I got there were too doggone many people there, and I just wandered around lost. That could have told you. He was like Navin Johnson. He's like the jerk. That's where he went. St. Louis, same thing.
Yeah.
Went to St. Louis and wandered around. But he found a dog named Asshole. Oh, my God. This is incredible. He said, but one morning I told my story to a wino, as one has want to do.
That is rock bottom.
I'm here. I don't know where to go. Hello, sir. You look like a sympathetic ear.
What is that, Sutter Home? Can we talk?
Hello, only guy whose life has been worse than mine. Want to chat for a while?
You look lost. Maybe we can help each other.
Oh, man. Holy shit. You look like you don't remember your name. I told my story to a wino, and he says, I favor this lady that lives down the street. He took me over to the house, and I knocked on the door, and my brother, I thought that was his sister, he said before. Is his brother fucking Curtis or is his sister Curtis? It's got to be a sister. He said sister twice, and now he said, and my brother Curtis opened the door. Is there a brother Curtis and a sister Curtis?
There might be.
Bro, I am so confused with this man's family. I don't know when he was born. I don't know who Curtis is. I got a lot of problems here.
It's amazing that we know who he is. That a wino could have just knifed him on the streets of St. Louis.
That would have been the end of it. A wino knifes him. He fell into the gutter, and that's that.
And it's just some random dude who doesn't have a birth date.
That's all. Just some guy. We don't know who he is. Jesus. How old is he? Beats the shit out of me.
I don't even know where he's from.
His parents wouldn't know about it. None of this shit. Instead, a wino takes him over to his gender I don't know, just not ambiguously gendered sibling.
Very forward-thinking family.
I don't know. He said, from then on, I stayed with my mother. That's probably for the best, I assume. She put
you may
me
want to hang around there because the wino said he favors her. You got a
favors,
drunk homeless guy with a crush on your mom. Maybe stick around a while.
I think with a crush on his sister, maybe.
Oh.
That's possible. Or brother. We don't know.
Who knows?
We don't know. We also...
Either Curtis.
I also don't know when this wino was born either, so this whole thing is real precarious. He said, from then on, I stayed with my mother. She put me in school, but I was so much bigger than the other children and didn't stay long.
Yeah, because you're probably 17.
That's the thing. He thinks he's 13. How old am I, Mom? What grade should I be in? Well, you're about 13. Put you in about the 8th grade. Meanwhile, he's 17.
Yeah.
He's driving.
Almost. Yeah.
He's trying to pick up 12-year-olds because that's what's around. What's happening?
Crazy.
He doesn't know how old he is. How can you go to school if you don't know how old you are? How do you do that? In school, when you're a kid, what's the first thing everybody asks you? How old are you?
How old are you? Yeah.
It's the first fucking question people ask you. They don't care about anything else about your life. Are we the same age?
Right before your name, because if you're older than me, I don't give a fuck about your name. We're
How
not
old
going to
are
be
you?
friends.
Oh, you're my age. Good. Instead, he goes, and goes to school. How do they do that? So he said, other kids, seen me coming out of, and then he pauses and he says, I was such a large boy.
Yeah.
Probably because you were 20. Other kids would see me coming out of such small kids' rooms, and they would make fun of me and start laughing, and I started fighting. So, yeah, Sonny ain't afraid of anybody because Toby's been kicking his ass. He goes, hey,
Right.
where's my beating? As he shakes his dad awake. Like,
Yeah.
he ain't afraid of you at all. He said, and then I started playing hooky, and from hooky I led to another thing, so I wound up in the wrong school. Well, the house of detention. Which isn't a school. That's
It's the school you belong in when you do bad things.
I wound up in the wrong school. Well, a jail is appropriate. Yeah, it wasn't a school. That's fucking crazy.
I went to college real young.
Real young. He said, quote, I got to running with the wrong crowd. We broke into this restaurant about 2 a.m. and got away. Okay, that's. But after we had gone 10 blocks, we decided to stop and get some barbecue.
Okay.
So they robbed a store or robbed a restaurant at 2 a.m., ran away, which is okay. That's crime. That's working. They stopped 10 blocks away just to eat some barbecue.
You smell hickory?
So there's not a lot of people out at that time.
Right.
And whoever did it, that's just not smart.
It's probably the kids eating barbecue.
Let's check on them. And then police came along and barbecued us, he says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just, hey, you're the only 3 out. Do you have anything from this place? He said, I got out on probation. I was 16 then, weighing over 200 pounds. Jesus. 16 to 20. Somewhere between 14 and 20 he was. We don't know.
I was either a very large 16-year-old or an average 20-year-old.
Just an average 20-year-old with a little bit of a barbecue problem, put a couple extra pounds on. He said, I was in a lot of street fights. I used to punch first and ask questions later. That's the way those guys do. That's what he said. He's just
hit people and then find out if you hit the right person?
You piss him off or you act stupid or he thinks you're trying to fuck him over. He's going to hit you first and then figure it out later, I guess, which he got used to the city quick. Anyway, I mean, he got used to St. Louis real fast. He said, I guess I was the biggest, strongest guy on the corner. None of the other gangs would mess with me, and so I started to strut with this gang and wound up in a bigger house. You know. Prison. Actual jail. Not me and my mom and my sisters ended up in a better place to live. I went there. He says, this is a great quote. You know what? Let's go ahead and we'll give you the details, but let's let him sum it all up on his own and in their own words. I think we need an in their own words for this one because holy shit. In their own words, quote, some sucker sold me a gun to be shot only on Saturday night. That's the only time you needed it. I never shot a gun before, so I held it up in the sky and pulled the trigger. The gun lit up, and I, thinking it was on fire, threw it in the mud. After that, I started running with this guy who had a car. We made a few stick-ups, got away with the first, tried a second, and it didn't turn out. This time, they sent me away to Jefferson City for 5 years. End quote.
What the fuck?
Some sucker sold me a gun to be shot only on Saturday night. I don't know what that means.
Is that a Saturday night special 25 caliber? Is that what he means? Or is
a Saturday night special, but to be shot only on Saturday night? What the fuck does that mean?
Does that mean he only
goes timer on it?
It has a safety that only unlocks on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a timer. What is happening, man? That's the only time you needed it. Okay. To be shot only on Saturday. I don't understand any of that, but let's find out what happened here to get him in jail. This is from the record, the official record. Victim number one reported, or our victim reported the number one assailant here struck him in the mouth. Actually, it's listed in the report as victim reported the number one Negro struck him in the mouth.
Let's go with a different word.
Let's go with assailant. What do you say?
Yeah, I like that so much better.
But that's the official record. I'm just giving you what it says here. He said, knocking him to the street, after which all 3 assailants, quote unquote, held him down and removed from his left hip trousers pocket his billfold containing $6.
Oh, Jesus.
So Sonny ran up, punched him in the mouth. His friends held him down, and they took $6 from this guy.
$2 a piece.
Victim reported 3 assailant men threw dirt in his face, then beat him and dragged him into an alley where they knocked him down, kicked him, and one of the men took from his right trouser pocket $9. This is a different victim. These are all different people that this is. So they were just going around jacking people.
$3 intervals.
Yeah. There's 3 of them, so they're splitting $9 take here. Another victim here. Victim reported 3 assailants came up behind him and pulled him into a vacant lot and took from his person his brown leather billfold, which was in his left hip trousers pocket, which contained about $45.
Oh,
that's a score. So I guess if it's a numbers game here, you gotta. You got to rob a lot of people. You get somebody with some cash on them eventually.
I'm impressed that they haven't had to make change yet. They got $9. That's 3 apiece. They got 6, 2 apiece. 45, 15 apiece.
They're doing great.
We haven't had to get quarters yet.
This is amazing. We haven't had to go in and be like, listen, who has change for a 10? Seriously.
Can you break a 5?
Somebody, anybody?
This is great.
It says then, quote, they walked to the rear of the filling station and looked in the window and saw the attendant was by himself.
Oh, boy.
At this time, a man dressed in a soldier's uniform who appeared to have been drinking walked up. A drunken soldier walked up. And Liston grabbed him around the neck from the rear, bent him backwards, and held him while Jordan, his friend, searched his pockets.
Okay.
They're just, if they see somebody, Sonny just physically manhandles them and they rifle the pockets. Like, this is a wild strategy for crime. It really is. There's no
Brazen.
Quote, he found a nickel, which he kept. A nickel.
We got to break that.
They took a nickel off the guy. Wow. They went into the filling station, and Jordan asked the attendant to sell him a can of gas. And when the attendant turned around, Sonny grabbed him around the neck. This is his move.
Yeah.
I dope you up, and you fucking everybody searches you here. Informed him to be quiet or he would get hurt, and said, this is a holdup.
Yeah.
Now you're holding up, a gas station.
Stations,
Yeah, this is some shit here. That was another time. Here's another time. They passed a lunchroom and observed that there was only one man there and that it looked like an easy spot. Belt, who was his other friend, took a pistol from under the front seat and gave it to Liston.
Okay.
Sonny really doesn't need a gun. That's the thing about Sonny Liston. Liston and Jordan entered the lunchroom, and when Liston took the gun out of his pocket, Jordan grabbed it out of his hand and pointed it at the man behind the counter and said, this is a holdup.
Yeah, we know.
So these are all reports of how they've been robbing people. This is tons of police reports of...
They went from like... you could say innocent mugging, but like much lower crime of taking $3 off of a guy.
Yeah.
All the way up to liquor or gas station and now a fucking restaurant.
Yeah.
They're accelerating fast.
And they went from breaking in at 2 a.m. when it was closed to now there's people in there, which is better because then you can rob them too. Is a huge acceleration.
Yeah.
It's a lot, man. So they're called the... He is called the Yellow Shirt Bandit, by the way.
Oh,
that is
did that.
What he's called here. January 15th, 1950, Charles, this is another from the report, Charles Sonny Liston, robbery first degree, 2 counts, larceny from a person, 2 counts. He is sentenced to, he pleads guilty here to robbery first. Robbery first means deadly, dangerous weapon, robbery first degree, larceny, okay. He pleads guilty to all this, and he is sentenced to, my goodness, you, sir, may fuck off 5 years in the pen for each charge.
Oh, wow.
But to run concurrently. So 5 years. And he is called the Yellow Shirt Bandit in the newspapers, and he's known.
We caught him.
He was known around as the Yellow Shirt Bandit, which maybe don't wear a yellow shirt while you're...
What's worse? Orange. That's it.
That's the only thing.
That's worse.
Those colors on clothes are literally made so people don't hit you with a car, accidentally shoot you with a gun. They're made for safety. They're called safety orange and safety yellow, like for a reason.
You're forced to wear that as you pave a road so that drivers can see you and know not to hurt you.
That's crazy, but he wears that for robberies because he really wants to be. And like that's his jam, too. He did it for all of them. That's his Robin shirt. He has where's my Robin shirt? Hold on, it's my good luck robbery shirt. I gotta get that.
Sure, everybody sees me do this.
It's my strong arming shirt. Better grab it. So when he was caught in 1950, he said he was 20 years old, but the St. Louis Globe-Democrat newspaper reported that he was 22 years old.
Oh,
who knows? So he started his prison sentence on June 1st, 1950. He goes to prison.
5-year bid.
5 years to do 5 years in the Missouri State Penitentiary. So
Jesus.
Hard times. Sonny's life has not been great so far.
Hasn't fought a round of boxing except for getting pummeled by his dad.
He's gotten beat up by his dad and beaten up men on the streets. Other than that, we haven't even mentioned boxing as far as an interest of his.
Right.
You know, he was doing this when he was a kid. None of that shit. This is
not a sparring match yet.
And for a guy who is such a known and successful boxer, heavyweight champion of the world and all of this, boxing is like 10% of this episode, of the whole series, because it's so much crime, Jimmy. It's so much crime.
Sentenced to 5 years at 20, at least 20 years
20,
old.
23, 22, 21,
By that, and
17,
he's going to stand in with Muhammad Ali eventually. This is unbelievable.
14 years, he's going to be having the biggest fight of the century at the time. 14 years from now.
The most recognizable snap in the history of boxing is about to happen.
It's insane, man.
And he's going to prison right now.
He's going to prison. So did Sonny hate prison? What do you think?
He loved it. He had to love it.
He said, quote,
adored it.
Quote, I didn't mind prison.
Yeah, it's the greatest.
I didn't mind prison. No, I figure I had to pay for what I did. No use crying. I should have tried that before I did wrong.
Okay.
He said, it's all in the game, baby.
That wasn't the words I was expecting. I was expecting there was a bed every day.
Yeah, it was wild. It was crazy.
Food, every meal, showed
all
up.
the time. No, but this is, I mean, he just said the 1950 version of it's all in the game, baby. That's what happens. Yeah, you got to take it. So he did, you're going to laugh at this. He said the food at the prison was, quote, the best he'd ever eaten.
Oh, my God.
Exactly right. You had it and you nailed it.
Horrifying.
Best he'd ever eaten. By the way, this is such an unpopular opinion. In jail, in that prison, the prisoners made such a big deal out of the food for years that it culminated in a riot in 1954 that was 100% in protest of the bad food.
Sonny's like, why are you guys so mad?
Sonny, there's shit flying. The sirens are going. Sort team's running in. He's sitting there still eating off the tray, just grabbing other people's trays. Fuck it. Y'all going to fight about it. I'll just eat this shit. Just 2 forks, both hands, double fisting it. Like, fuck, he's wrong with you people, man. More for me. More for Sonny.
You guys are going to make this food better? How are you going to do that?
Wow. Holy shit. Jesus, you're going to put a maitre d' in here? This place is perfect.
I didn't expect him to be impressed with the cuisine. I was just expecting him to be impressed that it showed up.
Best food he's ever eaten.
The quality. Unbelievable.
Well, think about it. After, like, Mom left, what do you think Toby was providing as meals?
Dear Lord.
What do you think a sharecropper with 25 kids and likes to beat them all the time? We think he was cooking? Come on, kids. Dino chicken fucking shaped things already. No, that's not what he's doing.
Bread and water, right?
It's who knows? It's fend for yourselves, I would assume. So
lots of grits.
He loved it, though. He was like, this is great, man. Sonny, the day he was paroled here, a guy he knows named Monroe Harrison, who will later become his co-manager, bought him a chicken dinner as a treat, and like a whole chicken there.
Yeah,
and said, "Here, you got out of prison. Have a chicken, like a rotisserie chicken, I assume, a whole chicken." You know, like Bruno Sammartino after he won the title, just chicken and milk.
Here's the chicken.
Here, have a chicken dinner, you know? And he wasn't eating it. He said that Sonny was just staring at the chicken, sitting at the table. And the guy said, why don't you eat it, man? Yeah. We were like, what the fuck? And Sonny said, quote, I don't know how. He didn't know how to eat a chicken. He's never had a chicken.
He's eating gruel and slop and shit that's like with a fork or a spoon.
A whole chicken. He's like, I don't know how to get in there.
Yeah.
How do you get in there?
Where do you start?
There's a protective coating on the outside I can't get through. Yeah. Do I just pick it up and start biting it? Like, I don't know how this fucking... He literally did not know how to eat a chicken.
It's not a pizza, man. You can't just pick it up and bite it.
That's fucking crazy. And he is somewhere at this point between, 26 and 30 years old, and he doesn't know how to eat a chicken. This is fucking crazy.
Yeah, this is a man that's certainly old enough to father a family.
Oh, absolutely, but not carve that chicken, though. Carve the chicken. I can't. I'm sorry.
Not for me.
Bad Thanksgivings at Sonny's house later on. Just never really was good. He also loved his job in the prison. He loved his job there. He was like, this place is great. He liked his job, and then they'd feed him the food that is the best he ever had. He thought it was amazing.
And then they're going to send him out to figure out how to eat a chicken. I want to go back in.
Yeah, it was easier. That's what happens to a lot of guys. He's like, he's had a rough, unstable life. So to this point, he's like, this is the most stability I've ever had. And he actually enjoys it.
I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of an adult.
You want to be in prison?
No. I want to be I want to be a part of an adult eating a chicken for the very first time.
I do too.
I want to see that.
I want them to look at it.
The wonderment.
I'm looking at it from different angles. You can't see at home. I'm looking like under it. Like,
peeking under,
looking under the table to see if there's like an anchor that I don't see or anything.
Yeah. like a dad buying a used car for his daughter. Like
opening the hood, looking around at it, looking at, I don't know, okay. Doesn't know shit about cars.
I want to see him reach in the neck hole and pick it up and be like, where do I start?
Just hold it by this and eat it? Stick my fist in here? Is that how it works?
I want to see it so bad. That's amazing.
But I think nowadays everybody have seen, there's so many videos of everything.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen a chicken being, you know what I mean?
You saw Mickey Mouse carve the turkey on, you know what I mean, in cartoons.
I don't think he saw a lot of cartoons,
I don't
Sonny.
think so either.
I don't think he had a lot of real entertainment options as a child, this guy.
I bet he had to be told that was a chicken. I don't think he's ever seen a cooked chicken.
It's like, damn, what is this? Yeah, probably not. What do they cook? So he loved this job. He said, quote, I was a runner. You know, I ran messages or carried clothes to the dry cleaners. I got the job because Father Stevenson was always in my corner.
Okay.
So he had a priest in there that was down with him. And that is Father Stevenson. Later on, but his real name is Father Stevens, by the way. Sonny calls him Father Stevenson. Nobody knows why, just because he fucked it up.
Names and birth dates don't matter, James.
He always calls him. He's always in his corner, huge influence in his life, has no idea what his name is. Listen, my mom doesn't know when I was born. You think I'm going to memorize your name? Get fucked. What the fuck is happening? Sonny!
I'm adding letters to your name to make it easier for me, because I don't fucking care.
I don't care, Father Stevenson. Okay, whatever, fine. Father Stevenson. Just complete wrong name. He was always in my corner. That's not his name. He said that he was also perhaps the most beneficial influence of his life.
Fuck his name.
Sure wish I could remember his name, man. Boy.
Most important man I've ever met.
I mean, if it wasn't for him, I don't know where I'd be. Who the fuck was he again?
I don't know.
Shit. Oh, my God. That is incredible. That is.
I mean, that's literally living for tomorrow. Like, or is it right now? What is it? What is that?
Right this minute, in the moment. I love this guy. And he was like, man, that motherfucker was great. Who was he again? That's wow.
That's
You're not
always
thinking about
looking forward, never looking back. You can't look back because you'll fucking die, right?
And why remember people's names? He's got so many siblings to remember. His name bank is all full up just in family here. So
he's only got 9 of the 25.
That's what I mean. This is insane, and
amazing.
Haven't gotten anything accomplished here with his life, but. It's incredible how incredible this story is.
The only thing we know for sure is Sonny Liston is a menace. He is dangerous.
He existed, and you don't want to fuck. If you see him walking down the street, cross to the other side. That's what we know at this point. So he said that Father Stevenson, also the athletic director at the prison.
Okay.
That's another thing he did. And he suggested, hey, Sonny, you like to beat people into insolvency and unconsciousness.
You shake people's pockets.
You're good at that, right? And he was like, yeah, I kick people's asses all the time. And he was like, why don't you try boxing where you're supposed to punch someone and they won't arrest you for it?
There you go.
It's pretty cool. And then they'll give you money just like if you robbed him. It's pretty neat. Yeah. Think of it as you're robbing him. Think about it as the whole purse that you could win. He already has that. And if you beat him up, then you can take it. Right? There you go. Boxing.
And you don't go to jail for it, Sonny.
No, people will praise you, as a matter of fact. They'll put you in the paper and say how great you are and pat you on the back. So he said that, and so he said, yeah, sure, what the fuck, why not? I'll try that. Now, by the way, Stevens or Stevenson or whatever he is, later on will be instrumental in getting Sonny early parole as well.
Oh.
Instrumental in this because he is the priest. His word carries a lot of weight back then in this place. So Sonny says, quote, he was the one who started me fighting. That's that. Now, Father Stevens or Stevenson, he said, I was the Catholic chaplain at Jeff City. That's the prison. And the athletic director, too. They used to wish a lot of those jobs on chaplains. Sonny was just a big, ignorant, pretty nice kid. That's a good title for this episode. A big, ignorant, pretty nice kid. He wasn't smart alecky, but he got in little scrapes.
Okay.
I think he didn't take a lot of shit is what it was,
yeah.
Sonny. He then goes on to say, quote, I tried to teach him the alphabet, not to read the alphabet.
Wow.
Which is the beginning of starting to read. That's,
Oh, that's so far before reading.
When you're 3, you're telling him
Yeah.
A, B. Like, that's tough. He said, but it was hard to impress upon him the importance of it. He just didn't care. Had no interest in reading. He said, he told him, surely you'll want to read the papers about yourself when you're a famous boxer. He said, I'd tell him, but he wasn't too faithful. He was he just didn't like talking much, he said. He said, I ran him 2 winters in our boxing program, and he wound up being inmate champ.
Unbelievable. Inmate
So now
champ, illiterate.
Yeah, can't. He doesn't even know letters. Never mind illiterate. He's
fuck illiterate. What is that?
Illiterate, I think, is what that is. It's not even illiterate. That's illiterate.
Not
That's way
even
worse.
Close.
Not even close to reading. He is years away from reading at this point, right? He's got to be. If you're a full-grown adult, somewhere between 23 and 36 years old, and you don't understand.
He's at minimum preschool and kindergarten away from reading.
Holy fuck. So when he became eligible for parole, Father Stevens called on a journalist that he knew at the Globe Democrat to inquire, how can Sonny be a fighter on the outside? Can you help me get him into that on the outside? So this guy, though, Bob Burns, he said he was a little leery of penitentiary phenoms, You beat up guys in prison, but these guys on the outside have been training for 10 years, and, they're not just getting into this to burn some energy off.
Right. There's a difference between a guy that can take a punch and a guy that can deliver a punch.
Exactly. So he said, why don't you check out this guy, Monroe Harrison, who's the guy who bought Sonny the chicken dinner. Okay. He is a former boxer, Harrison, and a sparring partner of Joe Louis.
Oh,
so yeah,
champ.
this guy, the champ, fucking Joe Louis, bad motherfucker, brown bomber. So he sent this guy. Harrison went to the prison to take a look at Liston and see if he was worth a shit or not.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real, The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
So Harrison, not only in addition to his obvious boxing acumen, he's also the custodian of a public school. So he's the school janitor as well.
Why is it always?
I don't know. You don't want to make fun of that school janitor, though.
No.
He will beat
that guy
your
can
ass.
Take a punch.
Yeah, he will
Holy
beat your
shit.
ass. He's a poor man. He made no money fighting. He's just a guy who works as a janitor at the school. Wow. And he asked the publisher of the St. Louis Argus, which was a black weekly newspaper, he said, would you come with me? And if it's good, you could do a story on, some prison guy that's doing really well. So, and Harrison also explains, there's another reason why he asked him to go, quote, Frank had a car.
He didn't even have a car.
Harrison didn't have a car to go to the prison to check him out.
Oh,
so he's
God.
like, he had a car. So I was like, I could two birds here. You know what I mean?
You can get there and this.
Yeah. So they took them there. They went and they took a heavyweight named Thurman Wilson with them as well to spar with Tyson, with Liston, a real, fighter. You know what I'm saying? A real boxer. Yeah. So Mitchell here, the reporter, he says, quote, Wilson asked me, how many rounds? Many as you want, I said. We don't want to show the boy up, is what they said. Like, we don't want to, embarrass him. At the end of 4 rounds, Thurman Wilson told me, quote, better get me out of this ring. He's going to kill me.
Oh, my.
It's like, I don't want to fight with this guy.
A real boxer said, I got to get out.
He said, get me out of here. This guy's going to kill me. Jesus Christ, he's dropping bombs on me. So that was a lot. So that made Harrison go, God damn, maybe this guy can fight. So later on, though, the boxing, you could say, saved Sonny Liston, but at the same time, someone will say something, someone he knows very well will say something interesting later on. He'll say, quote, boxing has done nothing for Sonny Liston, but introduced him to a lot of high-class hoods.
Oh, no.
Back then, especially if you were a boxer, especially back then, you could really get in with some bad people. I mean, it was a mob-run thing. So, I mean, you could be in with gangsters like that.
People that do bad things oftentimes love to have somebody around that is perfectly capable of doling out a beating. And if you've got a guy that's he's a real boxer, that's the guy you want. You need
Look at Rocky. What is Rocky doing in the movie Rocky? But his living is collecting for a bookie. I mean, that's what he's doing. So now he is paroled on October 31st, 1952. So he does 2.5 years almost, a little shy of 2.5. And he's released into the custody of that reporter, of Harrison, and of Father Stevenson. You're all responsible for him.
Keep track of this very grown adult.
Normally it's one person, but he's kind of a menace. We're going to assign 3, including a priest, to him. Hey, Father.
Man of the cloth.
You make sure he boxes. You keep an eye on the crime stuff. Father, we need a few novenas from you at night because this fucking guy, he's going to need prayers. Come on.
You instill in him the commandments. That one about murder is very important.
Jesus fucking Christ. So he said that things went smoothly for a while. Burns said, I recommended Monroe Harrison because this is a man Sonny can lean on. Monroe is an automatic uncle. Yeah. As one of these older guys who's going to give him good advice and shit like that. Harrison, the automatic uncle, he said, quote, Sonny's the type of person that needs understanding. Okay. He's interesting. He's vicious all the way. Youth, all his youth. He needs someone to help him control his emotion. He must be kept busy until all that youth and strength leaves him, like it leaves all of us.
We're gonna treat him like a puppy. Sure, he's chewing the couch now, but give him a few years.
You gotta give him.
Loyal.
He's gonna be the best now. Yeah, those shoed shoes are gonna be worth it later on when he's sitting next to you in front of the fireplace and you're petting his head. You know what I mean?
You're walking through the woods and he's right next to you.
He's right next to you, not going anywhere. So, we were talking about that with Oscar, with our dog here. We're like, hey, he's kind of a pain in the ass now, but he's going to be a great dog, though, soon.
That's a cowboy. That's such a good dog.
He's getting great, though. He really is. But
Vaughn's going the opposite way, where he's now an old man.
Yeah, that's where my other two are.
Took him to a dog park, and he bit a dog. And
oh, no.
Yeah, and then got him in the car. I made him ride in the back because he doesn't get to ride up front when he's a shit. And he just rolled down the window on his own, hit the button, stuck his face out the window, and slobbered. Dog's a straight gangster. Couldn't care less. Zero remorse. Fuck that dog.
So I always say, Frankie will do shit like that when I go to grab her. As soon as I grab her collar to start walking her, she stops what she's doing and just walks slightly slower than me like prisoners do. That's the prisoner thing. When they take a prisoner and jack him up when he's in a fight, they'll stop completely what they're doing and walk just half a step slower than the guard. That's what she does, with a complete 1,000-yard stare on her face while she's doing it. I'm like, you little fucking gangster bitch. You're like a fucking prisoner.
She's like you, and I know it.
A maximum security prisoner. When she went over and body slammed that dog across the street there, that pit bull across the street, where she just fucking flipped him on his back and was like, I'm on your throat now. As soon as we grabbed her, she was like, yep, walking away. Fuck that. Had to tell that motherfucker what's up. Yeah, that's right. See you at rec time, bitch. Like, she was, what is wrong with you?
It gets you when you're doing your push-ups later.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're vulnerable on the pull-up bar. Watch your back.
Oh, man. Yeah, that pull-up bar. So this Monroe, I love the way he talks, by the way. I'm going to read that over. Sonny's the type of person that needs understanding. He's vicious all the way. Youth, all his youth. He needs someone to help him control his emotion. He must be kept busy until all that youth and strength leaves him, like it leaves all of us. Right now, he's like the leopard. Okay? So he's a child, now he's a leopard.
It's a fast evolution.
Wow, I mean, it's impressive. That animal out there in the jungle, leap at an animal, kill it, but he don't need to. Yeah, right now he's like the leopard. That animal out there in the jungle, leap on an animal, kill it, but he don't need to. He's saying he's hunting, but he doesn't need to be hunting. He needs to chill the fuck out. He doesn't need to be a leopard and attack. He said, I understood Sonny's language, befriended him. I fathered him around. That sounds weird.
Yeah, you mean followed, right?
Fathered him around. He needs training. He needs love. The right people have to take an interest in the boy and treat him like a member of the family. You've got to talk to him about what he talks about. Otherwise, he's got no conversation.
Yeah.
When you go with him to a function, don't leave him out there in the fourth dimension with all those diplomats.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know. He is from a fucking farm.
Right.
He showed up.
He's a fish out of water. He's
everywhere.
Yeah.
He showed up in the city thinking he could just say, do you know where this lady lives? And they'd point him to her house. Like, he doesn't know things.
Guy leaning against the wall drinking wine. And he's like, you know where she's at?
And if you show him the letter R and ask him what it is, he won't know. That's the other thing. He'll go, I don't know.
Make this sound. I cannot.
I don't know what that is. So, yeah, you're going to have to,
But he's kind of like he's like an uneducated teenage boy where you got to keep batting him back in bounds talk to them about their interests. Otherwise, because teenage boys, fuck, man, if you don't talk to them about what they like, they won't talk to you at all.
5 years. Yeah.
5 years.
You go 5 years without having a conversation if you don't bring up a video game.
Right. Whatever sport they like, whatever.
Yep.
You got to talk to them about what they like.
Yep. It's how it is, and he's realizing that with this guy, with Sonny. So he says, don't leave him out there in the fourth dimension with all those diplomats. Then Bob Burns talks about Sonny when he got out of prison, and Bob Burns, that reporter, he said, quote, Sonny was frightened, lost in the big city. After he worked out, there was nothing to do but listen to the radio. Monroe taught him to play checkers and talk boxing with him. Every once in a while, Monroe would haul Sonny down to the office, I assume the newspaper office, and, quote, tell Bob you've been a good boy, he'd tell Sonny. You been a good boy, I'd ask? Yes, Mr. Bob. Quote, Sonny's not bright, but I've never known him to be mean.
Okay.
So they treat him like a child who has brain damage.
Yeah.
Already.
Lenny.
Yeah, they treat him like Lenny, though.
Yeah.
You've been a good boy, you know, and he goes, yes, Mr. Bob, and they take him to It's the weirdest shit.
A third.
Yeah, yeah. And there is no racial component here. Everyone here is black that we're talking
Really?
about. So yeah. There's no Bob Burns works for the black newspaper. He's a black reporter. So yeah, he said that's right away. I read that. I was like, that's kind of
right. What's happening?
Yeah, but no, it's fine. But he's still a man in his 20s. So to ask if you've been a good boy, I'd be like, motherfucker, I'm 25 to 32, bitch. 25 to 32. Father Stevenson taught me how to box. It's on.
Unbelievable.
Unreal. So Sonny's not that bright. Sonny's not bright, but I've never known him to be mean. He's still a child, easily misled, easily misguided. I've never known Sonny to go out looking for trouble. Well,
you didn't know him before.
To say you didn't know him when he would literally go out looking for anyone who had a nickel on them to shake them down.
You just met him.
You just met him, yeah. Holy fuck. So he has a brief amateur career that we'll talk very briefly about an hour and 10 minutes into this when he's first discussing boxing here. It was a quick amateur career because he needed to make money.
Yeah.
They knew that if you don't get Sonny in the ring making money, Sonny's going to go make money somewhere else.
Right.
Like, that's how it's going to work. So he captures the Chicago Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions. He wins the title there.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is pretty damn good. That's March 6th, 1953. So he hasn't even been out of prison for 6 months.
Right.
And he's training and doing that. And he won that in that tournament. He beat 1952 Olympic heavyweight champion Ed Sanders.
Is that right?
Yes. So he beat an Olympic heavyweight in that. So that's serious. He's pretty goddamn good. He also he had a little problem here as well, as we'll talk about here. He in 1953 he was arrested for an investigation of what is this here? He was only held for a day. He was held for a day and released on some investigation during this. So he then beat the New York Golden Gloves champion, or New York Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions winner Julius Griffin, to capture the Intercity Golden Gloves Championship.
Okay.
Which is between Chicago and New York, and he won it. Liston was knocked down in the first round, but came back and controlled the next 2 rounds and beat the shit out of the guy essentially here. So he competed in the 1953 U.S. National Championships at the Boston Garden, and he beat Lou Graff in the second round, but then lost in the quarterfinals in that here to a guy named Jimmie McCarter, who he later hired as a sparring partner for a long time.
Oh.
So June 23rd, 1953, a team of 10 recent St. Louis Gold Gloves champions of all weight classes, with Liston there as well as the heavyweight, was gathered to represent the U.S. in an international Golden Gloves competition, USA versus Western Europe, which is pretty cool. This is at the Kiel Auditorium in St. Louis, where they used to do wrestling all the time. Liston knocked out Hermann Schreibauer of West Germany in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. Previously, Schreibauer, the month before, had won a bronze medal in the European Championships.
This is a good boxer.
So he's a good boxer, yeah. At the time, the head coach of the St. Louis Golden Gloves team, a guy named Tony Anderson, said Liston was the strongest fighter he'd ever seen.
Is that right?
Yeah, so pretty impressive here.
Yeah.
Here's just a few of his fights I'll give you here because they span less than a year. This is at the end anyway, yeah. He beats a guy by points named Bo Willis, then points. His first 3 are points, then TKO, a couple more with points. This is amateur. There's headgear on and shit here. So a lot of points wins. He only loses the one fight that I can see against Jimmie McCarter there at Boston Garden. So then he signs a contract in September 1953 to fight pro. He wants to fight pro. So he's been out of jail less than a year. He's ready to fight pro. He's somewhere between 20 and 26.
Yeah.
And,
but his fundamentals are there. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's just really tough too. He's got a really tough jaw, not an easy guy to knock out, and his punch he hits like a fucking horse. I mean, he just hits like a bastard. So he signs a contract in September 53, and he told his manager, quote, "Whatever you tell me to do, I'll do."
Okay.
Which is nice. But people didn't want you need a backer when you're a boxer.
Yeah.
To train all day and then get the proper amount of food and rest. Yeah. It's expensive, and you don't have time to work a regular job if you're going to be a serious contender.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult to do. So you need people to put money up to, so you can live. and the people who wanted to put the money up for him because he's a guy who, he's in prison, he can't read. Not a lot of legitimate people really want to take a chance on him.
Sure.
But underworld figures love this shit. Mob guys, things like that. They love this type of shit.
Yeah.
They got a guy, So, by the way, while he's doing this, they said, yeah, we'll take care of you. You can train and all that. But every once in a while, maybe you, we have a little job for you to do.
Yeah.
And he did. He worked like Rocky. He worked around as a fucking collections guy, an intimidator. Wow. You don't pay up.
St. Louis?
Yeah, you don't pay up, he's going to come fucking visit you. And it was like, I don't want Sonny Liston to beat the shit out of me, so I'll pay up. So, he was very much, this was good for him in the beginning of his career because also these guys can get you good fights. They know all the promoters. They are the promoters, all that kind of shit. So his pro debut, finally, September the 9th, 1953, against a guy named Don Smith. Sounds very generic here.
Sure does.
Comes in at 3-1, finishes his career at 7-4-1. So not a great fighter here. This is in St. Louis, and this fight goes 33 seconds.
Jesus.
Sonny whoops his fucking ass, and the ref stops the fight.
Explodes the man.
Yeah, stops the fight, knocked him out in the first round. He was at this point, he's 6'1", he's over 200 pounds. His reach is incredible. He's got a sick reach. I looked at the tail of the tape between him and Ali. Ali's got a 79-inch reach, which is really good. 84 for Liston.
Liston's got an 84-inch reach?
He's 6'1" and has an 84-inch reach. You understand? His arms are so fucking long. That's amazing for basketball and boxing.
How big is that? Is that
It's long, very long. It's a long arm.
His arm is long. You're supposed to be able to wingspan is the same height. He's bigger.
Oh, by far. In basketball, they get excited if you're more than 2 or 3 inches wider in wingspan than tall. They love that. They're like, holy shit, they love that shit. A lot of the great players have that. In boxing, 84 inches is just a silly reach for a guy 6'1". That's
so
silly.
much bigger than he is tall.
It's so much bigger. Yeah, it's really fucking silly. His fists also measured 15 inches around, which was the largest of any heavyweight champion of all time.
It's like a small basketball.
When you see his hands, you go, holy shit. They just look like cinder blocks on his fucking end of his wrists.
It's like the size of a WNBA ball.
It's so big, Jimmy. His fists are so fucking huge. He's
How does he get that in a glove?
Big old glove with those long-ass arms. He's made for boxing. I mean,
sure
made
is.
for it. Is made for it. Sports Illustrated writer Mort Sharnick, he said that Liston's hands, quote, looked like cannonballs when he made them into fists. And Liston had a noticeably more muscular left arm.
Huh.
It was more, I don't know if that was his jerking hand or what he had going on for obvious
Noticeably.
reasons. Noticeably.
I tug like crazy with my right. It's not
Nothing
noticeable.
Not noticeable. Yeah, you know it's stronger. You know the strength you have there, but it's
basically because that's the one that makes me finish. So I
more
know
more of a grip strength though. It's a different from bicep strength.
That's unbelievable.
He said he had a really good jab, a really powerful left hook, and everybody thought he was left-handed, even though he fought orthodox right-handed. They all thought he was left-handed because he could kick some ass with that left arm and left hook and all that shit. But he wasn't. He was right-handed. So
maybe he just didn't know. He just saw everybody else doing it with their right.
My mother wasn't sure what hand I was, so I just used both, and sometimes I don't know what's going on. So September, a week later, 8 days later, September 17th, 1953, he fights, this is fucking amazing, a guy named Ponce de Leon.
Stop it.
A.K.A. Ponce de Leon Taylor. This man's name is Ponce de Leon Taylor.
That's insane.
That is fucking crazier than not knowing when your birthday is. At least his parents didn't name him Ponce de Leon Liston. You know, like, I'm sorry, but this is worse.
That's pretty incredible.
Oh, man. Ponce is 15-21-4 coming into this fight, and he'll never win another fight. He's 15-30-4 in his career to end it. So he's just... Never happens again for Ponce.
Sonny retired the old sailor.
Well, 10 fights later, yeah. This goes all 4 rounds. He wins on points. Ponce is a fucking journeyman, apparently.
Yeah.
Ponce knows how to hang on for dear life. So 2-0. Here's a series of fights quick. He fights a guy named Benny Thomas. These are all in St. Louis, and here one's in Detroit later on. St. Louis, he beats him, Benny Thomas, in 6 rounds by split decision, so he almost loses a fight right away here. Martin Lee, he fights in St. Louis, knocks him out in the 6th round. This is out of 6 rounds. Stanley Howlett, he beats by points in 6 rounds. Then they go up to 8 rounds. In Detroit, he fights Johnny Summerlin, and he goes all 8 rounds and wins a unanimous decision. And then he goes all 8 rounds with Summerlin again.
Jesus.
Like a month and a half later, and gets a split decision win. So he's doing well. He's 7-0. But
fighting like crazy.
Lots of rounds, too. Lots of
rounds.
And
it doesn't even matter because he's not using that brain for the alphabet, so who cares?
No, he doesn't give a shit. And he's got a strong chin, too. I mean, he's not a guy that's easily knocked out, Sonny Liston here. So he did very well. The Summerlin, I guess, was really good. He was 18-1 coming into the fight. So he was really good, and both of them were in Summerlin's hometown of Detroit, too. So he went to someone's, which is hard to win in someone's hometown like that. So September 7th, 1954, he's fighting here, and he fights Marty the Michigan Bomber Marshall, not Mitchell, Marshall. He's 19-6 coming into this fight, 19-6-2, and he's called in an article an awkward journeyman. Which are guys you don't like to fight if you're inexperienced, because a guy like that is you're not used to seeing it, and he could fuck you up, you know. Liston was laughing at how the guy did things in the ring.
Making fun of him?
Yeah, he was laughing at him and shit. While he was laughing, Marshall socked him with a right hand and broke his jaw.
Oh,
yeah.
You don't talk so much, sir.
That's right. So Liston ended up going the whole distance with a broken jaw. Wow. And loses a split decision. Liston does, because he had a broken jaw the whole time.
Learn a lesson.
Exactly. That's the thing. Bob Burns, was a sports writer again, he said, quote, "I'm sort of standing there wondering what this fellow's going to do next, and all of a sudden he jumps up and down, lets out a whoop like a wild man, and I get to laughing at him." Talking about the other guy. The guy would do crazy shit in the ring. He said, quote, "I had my mouth wide open laughing," this is Sonny, "when he whomped me right on the jaw. It didn't hurt much, but I couldn't close my mouth. That happened about the 3rd or 4th round, and I had to fight him with my mouth open the rest of the way. After a while, it got to hurting pretty bad."
4 more rounds
of fighting a heavyweight fighter with a broken jaw and your mouth hanging open. That sounds awful. So he's 7-1 now here. This is when he gets a co-manager, all right, around this time, a guy named Frank Mitchell. Now, Frank Mitchell and Monroe Harrison are going to be doing that for his first about 14 fights. But after the broken jaw, this is the time right around now when Harrison, his wife, gets very ill, and he can't, he can't do this anymore. He has to sell his part of Sonny's contract. He sells it for $600, by the way.
Oh,
that is
like a
terrible deal. Yeah, what a bad deal, man. But it was right after his first loss and all that, so it seemed like a better deal. So then this left Sonny in the sole custody, I guess you could say, of Frank Mitchell, who, here's what a St. Louis police officer called him. Quote, "an unwholesome influence on Sonny." Unwholesome. Mitchell had been arrested 26 times, although never convicted of anything. What does that tell you?
He's got some friends.
He's got some friends. He's got a couple of bucks to pay off jurors and shit. That's what that tells me. And he's got a lot of connections.
Yeah.
And the majority of his arrests were for suspicion of gambling, which is
certainly
he's a gangster, whatever. Or that's allegedly. So Mitchell would constantly say he's being persecuted all the time. They're persecuting me and all that kind of shit. The Kefauver committee had the opportunity there to call him in, and he could set the record straight. Yeah. Well, they're having hearings. Tell us why you're not, why this is all untrue. He took the fifth.
You have the opportunity to clear it up, friend.
Apparently there's not a lot to clear. He said, quote, "not that I couldn't answer." That's what he said. Oh, we know you could answer. It's just you didn't want to. It was that going back there 3, 4, 5 years, I might not have been able to answer accurately. I didn't want to subject myself to perjury. Mm-hmm. So he said, they're asking stuff from 3, 4 years ago. I don't know what's going on here.
I don't want to fuck something up for me.
That's why you say, to the best of my recollection.
Right.
That says,
not
if I'm
to
wrong,
my knowledge. Who knows?
This is my memory. Yeah. This is how I remember it. You do that. So he said, this is Nanny Turner, who is the president and treasurer of the Argus, the newspaper, and Mitchell's mother.
Oh.
She said, this is about her son, Frank Mitchell. Quote, poor Frank took this ignorant boy out of the pen and made something out of him. That's interesting.
Poor Frank.
Poor Frank. So he said, I tell Frank sometimes maybe God isn't pleased with his attitude, letting him be persecuted. So she said, sometimes maybe it's not your fault. Maybe you're a dickhead and people do that for that reason. Now, Mitchell, he disagrees. He said, quote, they've raked me over the coals, sent me through the ringer, given me the devil. I'm supposed to be a front man with the hoodlums.
Okay.
So there you go. It's his thing here.
That's his defense, huh?
Yes. He was, I guess, he hung out with John Vitale, who was arrested 58 times. Hung out with Frankie Carbo, Blinky Palmero, and Blinky.
A lot of guys named Blinky doing real well in life with straight jobs.
Blinky Palmero over here, yeah. You're limited to running like a gambling organization if your name is Blinky Palmero, I feel like. You're not going to get away with anything like that here. So now Blinky, he and also a guy named James D. Norris, they were all involved in the management of Liston. Carbo and Frankie Carbo and Blinky Palmero were facing sentences of 80 and 125 years for their illegal activities in boxing in the state of California as well. So Mitchell says, I barely knew these guys. I met Vitale by chance on the golf course. By chance. He said, quote, it was not a prearranged thing. You see, there were twosomes, he said. The starter tuned Vitale's twosome and my twosome in. I couldn't afford to discriminate on a public golf course.
What are you going to do?
So you play with a gangster, then you go into business with him. That's what most people do.
You play with a gangster, and the gangster goes, well, aren't you big? I could use you.
No, that's the manager saying he got hooked up business-wise with him on the golf course.
Okay.
That's Mitchell saying, I only knew this guy and got in business with him out of pure coincidence that I met him on a golf course.
I know.
Start investing with him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Liston and Mitchell both claim that Mitchell worked for Vitale in construction, which we know isn't true. He wasn't working construction at this point at all, but it's a no-show job, more than likely. That's what they do.
Right.
So Liston once said, quote, I consider John Vitale a good friend whom I've worked for about 1 year after I was introduced to him by my manager, Frank Mitchell.
Okay.
So he said, during this time, John Vitale introduced me to Barney, who is Barney Baker, who's like a labor goon he's listed as here. That's his main chyron. Yeah. Labor goon, been arrested 5 times, and Millie Allen, who is Vitale's girl. In between rounds at my fights, I would wave and smile at Millie and John in the crowd. I made long-distance collect phone calls to John to find out how things were at home. You're hanging out with a gangster. That's what you do. He said, quote, he said I could call him Collect at this time. When John quit his business, he introduced me to Raymond Sarkis, and I worked for Raymond for about 1.5 years, driving him around in his car. He was a good friend. Yeah, you're muscle. That's according to the testimony before the Kefauver Committee, Sergeant Joseph Moose. Sergeant Moose.
Spelled like that?
Moose. It's Moose. Yeah. Sergeant Moose. Moose. Fucking Marty. Moose. The St. Louis Police Department, he said, quote, it's been reported that Liston's main function for Vitale was to keep the Negro laborers in line.
Okay.
So he would send them down to picket lines with threats. He whooped a few laborers out in the country, or out in the county. One St. Louis police guy said, quote, he didn't need to whoop many, just stared at them. I don't think there were any arrests. Too scared. Nobody would say shit. Liston said, that's crazy. Quote, all I did for Sarkis was to drive him in his car and help him around the house. Mostly I drive his car, a white Cadillac with air conditioning and a telephone. In the, 1960.
I'm sure that you were not with anybody that was dangerous.
Yeah, there's this guy and the presidential limo had telephones in them in 1960. Are you kidding me?
And the guy that invented the telephone for the limo.
Yeah, that guy has one in his car. His doesn't work real well, though. It's a prototype. Right. Well, this guy's got the good one. He said, and cops would see me in the summertime driving along, nice and cool with the windows up and the cold air pouring in on me, and they'd be out there sweating. I know they was jealous, and they'd even the score by pulling me in. That's what he said. He said they'd see me in my air-conditioned car and arrest me for that. Now, Captain John Doherty, who was in command of the, quote, hoodlum squad.
What?
I want a TV show set in the 50s called John Doherty, Hoodlum Squad. Just Hoodlum Squad would be amazing. Oh, man. He said, we wanted to break up Liston's associations with hoodlums is why they kept arresting him, because they said they were trying to help him, obviously.
I mean,
not an easy arrest.
You can't succeed unless you get out of that.
Yeah. He said, every time we could jump Liston up, find him, we did. We wouldn't tolerate beating any citizens up, robbing them, which he was known for. I must have talked to Liston on 20 occasions. Where you come from? I don't know. Where you going? I don't know. We tried to treat him pretty good. He would never answer shit. Where are you going? I don't know. Where were you before this? I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know is wild. I told him he had great potentialities. You could do well.
Fascinating word.
Wow, that's a lot. He put a lot of extra syllables on there that really, you have a lot of potential, kid. That's fine. But if you're going to associate with Vitali and them other hoods, I say you can't make a decent living. He never accepted my advice. He's dumb. He's got a vicious temper. He's ill-advised on many occasions. He shakes hands with police characters, the gangsters. So here's Lieutenant Frank Burns. He said, quote, when you start to take him in, he always hesitates. You get the opinion he's gauging his chances, standing there wondering whether he'll go along quietly or not. He doesn't react. He just stands there. He's like that in the ring. Yeah.
It's almost like society, as you grow and age and you go through the motions of life, teaches you how you're going to behave throughout the rest of your life. And it's almost like the more poor and the more difficult you have it coming up, you may treat situations like that as you grow up too.
Absolutely. And I think on top of all of that, and all of these factors, both scientific, medical, sociological, all of these factors, he's also, I think, a bit stupid also.
He can't read, James.
I think you have to factor in the fact that I think his dad hit him a lot when he was a kid, and I don't know what kind of brain damage he had coming into this whole thing. I don't think he's very bright. There's no one that associates with him, and I mean people who love him say he's not that bright. He's not a real smart guy.
He doesn't know how to eat a chicken, James.
Yeah. I mean, that's experience, though. That's experience. He's just not real good at adding.
I just mean basic life skills.
Yeah. What he does makes a lot of sense, too. The cops come up to him and they say shit, and rather than him put his hands behind his back or do anything, he just stands there and it's like, well, come cuff me if you fucking think you can, motherfucker. And maybe you'll be too scared to and let me go, is his other thing. Yeah. So, it's an interesting strategy. This cop said, when I stopped him once on 12th Street, he doubled up his fists. This is Detective Bob Green. He said, I pulled my gun and stood back. That's how scary this man is.
That's how big those hands are.
Yeah. He said, quote, you better unroll those fists, my man, I told him. Why did I stop him? Just to find out where he was going.
That seems...
Yeah, that's what they did all the time. Every time they saw him, they'd fuck with him. That's what I mean. Leave him alone. But they said every time they see him, they'd stop him to see what he was up to. He said Mitchell, his unwholesome character manager, he said, quote, once you have a record as an ex-con, they pick on you. Sonny has the mind of a 12-year-old child.
Oh.
That's what a lot of people say. He's got the mind of a child. Everybody says that.
That's so sad.
It's instant gratification. It's not thinking to the next step. I think he has I think he was hit a lot in the head as a kid. I think he has brain damage. I really do.
Be right. Yeah.
And then he gets hit in the head a lot more. So, he said he has the mind of a 12-year-old child. He has no finesse, tact whatsoever. He doesn't realize that he has to keep his name out of the paper. He's kind of mean, too. He hates policemen, and they hate him.
My kind of guy.
Jesus. So he has no tact or finesse. He's dumb as a child, and he's mean also.
I bet he doesn't hate police. I'll bet he doesn't trust them, and that's based on experience.
Well, also, I think by now that's turned into when you arrest me, I go to jail, and I hate that, so I hate you.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah. He said Sonny got locked up once with one of those buzzer things in his hands. Shook hands with a policeman with it.
He's playing practical jokes on the cops.
Yeah, that seems fun. Cost him $700 in a fine.
For like assault or something?
Yeah, they charge him with like assault. That's what I mean.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But he wouldn't have the sense to be a goon, he said. He just doesn't. Liston said, the cops just kept grabbing me up, picking me up, holding me overnight. If nobody came down to make a squawk to get me out, they keep me. And then they finally let me go. They just hang on to him for a while. He said, next day, back in.
For the
he let him go, and I said what they wanted me to say because who wanted to sleep on that cold steel all night? They never told me anything. They just picked me up and put me in the can and questioned me. The captain, Captain Doherty, told me to my face if I wanted to stay alive for me to leave St. Louis. So he said, if you don't, they're going to find you in an alley.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, not great here. Now, the assistant chief of police, James Chapman, he said, quote, Doherty got a bum rap on that.
I think that's the right rap.
Well, no.
You can't say that to a man.
Well, he's not saying that it wasn't said to a man.
Oh.
Quote, I'm the one that told him that.
Oh. He's not a dick, I am.
He said he gets a bum rap. Not because it didn't happen, not because it was misquote or out of context. I'm the one that told him I'd kill him and put him in an alley, not him.
He's not a piece of shit. He's a great guy.
I am a huge piece of shit. Me. I'm the one. Assistant Chief of Police, James Chapman. Piece of shit right here. He said, as far as I'm concerned, Liston's a big 18-carat phony.
Wow.
A big 18-carat phony. It seems phoniness isn't worth murdering someone and putting them in an alley for. You'd have to menace to society. You could say, okay, well, I'm starting to understand what you're talking about. Phony?
Taxpayer financed murder. You can't do that.
Crazy. So Sonny says this, quote, the only thing I tried to do is work and make an honest living. I promised Father Stevenson I would never meet him back up there in jail. Once I was picked up, and this one cop, who had boxed some, told the captain he wanted to take me downstairs and work me over with his fists.
I would not do that if I'm you, sir.
No, he just begged the captain for a chance to hammer me. So I said, yeah, Captain, why don't you let him take me downstairs?
Let's go, Cap.
Let's go, Cap. But I guess the captain knew better. He wouldn't stand for it. And I don't know how, regular this goes with police beatings, but like in the homicide book, David Simon says the one rule that the homicide cops had, and all the cops, they would beat a suspect's ass for certain things. And if they shot a cop or whatever the fuck their twisted sense of, whatever they're doing over there. But he said that the one thing was you don't beat a guy in cuffs.
Right.
Because you uncuff them and then you get them to take a swing on you and then you beat the shit out of them is the way they do it. So this is, you want to uncuff me and take me in the basement and it's fair.
I'm in.
I think you're going to be not satisfied with the results of this. What do you think? So he said that the captain knew better. He wouldn't stand for it. So they said that it was James Reddick is who they were saying that probably was. He was a one-time Golden Gloves champion.
There's a big difference between that and what he's done.
And he hated Sonny Liston a lot. Reddick, who is the sergeant who wanted to fight him, said, quote, he's a bad man. He hangs out with a bunch of dogs. I'd like to show him how bad he is. If he ever crossed me, I'd baptize his ass. That is awesome. That's somebody's cool old black grandfather right there, because he just said, you cross me, I'll baptize your ass. He's like, Grandpa's going to fuck us up.
But
you believe a man who says that.
But I don't think he's going to baptize
Sonny, no.
No, it's not going to happen, sir. You may think so.
Yeah, because Sonny still boxes, and this guy's probably a few years older. If he ever crossed me, I'd baptize his ass. He'd be like a coffee sieve. They'd remember him all right every decoration day. Jesus. He really wants to kick this guy's ass, man. That is wild.
Let's create a holiday around this event.
Yeah, let's all have a parade to celebrate Sonny Liston's fucking baptism. His fist baptism. Holy shit. So he said Father Charles Disma Clark, who was a priest, the founder of the Dismas House in St. Louis, he said something different. He said, quote, about Sonny, quote, he needs someone to show him how to live. He needs someone he can turn to. If he's supervised, he's all right. The penitentiary dulls minds. He said, you walk the same concrete, see the same bars, never make decisions. These people don't mind getting in trouble again. They learn to trust people, but the wrong people. They panic very quickly. They rationalize their panic and become bad for the community, and they torment it. So he's saying, I should take care of him a little bit more. So, by the way, he's still a professional boxer. In all of this mess.
Yeah.
March 1st, 1955, he fights Neil Welch. Now, that is like the grape juice.
Yeah.
Welch. Yeah. His nickname, Cornelius Walsh.
What?
I don't know. I don't know why. What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
In the 50s, Cornelius Welsh must have mattered. Walsh
and Welch.
It's too
Walsh
confusing.
with an SH.
Yeah.
Not even Walsh or something.
There's got to be a character somewhere that matters. That's that name,
I don't.
Right?
Some cartoon character from like newsreels at the end of fucking film. Like they show us bombing Hitler's shit, and then we cut to like the Cornelius Welsh, who's a little dog. Cornelius Walsh is like a little dog. Yeah.
What does Cornelius get into today?
What did Cornelius do? Well, Cornelius is 13-9-1 coming into this fight. Mm-hmm. He'll finish his career at 13-23-3.
Oh, it went bad.
It went real fucking bad, and this goes all 8 rounds, and Sonny wins on points. Mm-hmm. So April 21st, 1955 is the rematch with the guy who broke his jaw, the Michigan bomber here, Marty Marshall. This is this goes 6 rounds, and it's a TKO for Sonny this time. Mm-hmm. Marshall was down 4 times, and down including a 9 count at the end of the 5th round, and then 3 times in round 6, and it was a 3-fight, you call it, deal there. 3 times in 1 round. He's 9-1 now, Sonny. May 5th, 1955, against Emil Brutko. He has no vowels in his last name.
BRTK?
BRTKO. He has an O at the end, but it's Brutko. There's no... That's his name. I don't understand it. Emil.
Yeah.
So Emil is 15-1 coming into the fight, though. It's a big fight, and he knocks him out in looks like the 6th round. So that's a pretty easy one there for him. 10-1 now for Sonny. He next fights Calvin Butler, who is 5-2 coming in, and Calvin will have a 14-21 career. That seems pointless. And this fight's a TKO in the 2nd round for Sonny, 11-1 for old Sonny here. September 13th, 1955, Johnny Gray, and it says his nickname is John. So that's not much of a nickname there.
The thing about nicknames is that it sets you apart.
Well, that would be like if you said, my name's Jimmie, my nickname is Jim. Okay, that's short for that. All right, sure, why not? That'll work. So this is a 6th round TKO again for Sonny. Next up, he fights Larry Watson, who is 39-24 coming into this fight. Oh. But it's right at the end of his career. This is his 2nd to last fight. But this is a 4th round TKO for Larry, for Sonny. Mm-hmm. Sonny is 13-1 now. Next up, 3rd match, March 6th, 1956. The rubber match here with the Michigan bomber,
Here we
Marty
go.
Marshall here.
What's happening?
This is it's a decision. It goes all 10, but it's a beating. Marshall was a last-minute substitute.
Oh.
He lost every round but the first round, Marshall, on all the judges' cards. So that's not great. This is from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Liston apparently planned to coast through the bout. Referee McTiernan warned him twice to get in there and fight. He said that Liston had Marshall on the verge of a knockout on several occasions, but the other guy kind of found a way to get by, and he's a journeyman. That's what he did. But 14-1 for Sonny. Okay. Now, things are going great. He's winning fights.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd be concentrating on boxing. There's a little bit of a problem here.
What's that?
May the 5th, 1956. Okay, he's
birthday.
Got possibly. When you're Sonny Liston, any day can be your birthday. That's the great thing. That's what's wonderful. You can pick your own, or you can just randomly go, it's my birthday today. And people go, for real? How old are you? And you go, I don't fucking know. And then you eat a cake, I guess. Beats the shit out of me. It's always Sonny Liston's birthday. So he's got all these, he's hanging out with racketeers. Police are stopping him, breaking his balls on the street all the time. So on May 5th, 1956, Patrolman Thomas Mello of the St. Louis Police Department. Okay. And his name is spelled like Mello.
Okay.
I picture him coming up, hey, man, how's it going? Hey, we just had a little bit of a murder. I'm just asking around. It's all good. You all right? You all right? Hey, you know what? Let's just kick back for a minute. You know what I mean? Before we get into questioning, let's just kind of be cool, kind of take a beat.
A lot of hey.
Hey, you know, just like let it come to us. You know what I mean? Let it all come to us. You know, just kick back. So this is from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and the headline is, quote, boxer beat him, took revolver, policeman says.
Oh. Maybe he should have been less mellow.
Can't do that. Yes, he is held. This is after a parking ticket, mind you.
He beat him and took his gun over a parking ticket?
Over a parking ticket. Sonny is not having that shit. Okay. Now, Sonny Liston here was held on an assault with a deadly weapon charge and the severe beating of a policeman in a fight Saturday night over a parking ticket. Liston, a former convict, it says in the paper, also was booked suspected of robbery after the revolver Patrolman Thomas Mello of Deer Street District was found at the home of a relative of Liston where he was arrested.
He took it and
took it and kept it and just brought it to someone's house and was hanging out there with it. Wow. Patrolman Mello, who suffered a fractured right leg and head injuries, Jesus, he beat the shit out of this guy, said he placed a ticket for illegal parking on a taxi cab in the alley near Liston's home.
Not even his car.
Not even his car.
Not even responsible to pay this.
Nope, this was 4454 St. Louis Avenue. Then Liston and Will Patterson of Patterson's of 4011 Maffitt Avenue, who was the taxi cab driver, stepped down from the porch. Apparently it's a friend of his or relative of his who owns the taxi here. Stepped down from the porch where they had been talking and argued with Mello.
Yeah.
Okay. The three men moved farther into the alley. Other persons on the porch at Liston's home heard Mello cry out, "Don't hurt me." That's not good. That is not good.
The cops never begged me not to hurt them.
Don't hurt me is terrible to hear from an alley. Liston and Patterson drove away in the taxi cab after Liston knocked the police officer down and took his gun. Patrolman Mello, 41 years old, walked to a nearby hospital where he was given emergency treatment before being transferred to City Hospital, where he was permitted to go home. Then they give out his address. They don't give out police addresses anymore in the newspaper.
Probably shouldn't do that.
Mello named Liston as his assailant, and police found the boxer and Patterson at a home on North 15th Street. You know, by the big yellow taxi sitting outside, probably.
with
a
parking
flapping in the wind. Mello's service revolver, which Patterson said Liston had shown him in the taxi cab, was recovered in the house. He's like, grabbed his gun, man. Check that out.
Unbelievable.
Liston, who says he's 24 years old, it says in the thing, we don't know. 24, this is 56, and now he's saying 32. Okay. Became violent at the police station and was restrained, police reported. He denied assaulting the officer.
He didn't.
How'd you get his gun then?
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard to get a cop's gun from them. They won't voluntarily. You can't talk it away from them usually. They won't just give it to you.
Yeah, they generally hang on to that thing.
You got to take it from them usually. That's in my experience anyway. You know, you get a service revolver, you've earned it. You know,
it's yours.
So he denied it. Patterson was booked for assault. He said, I wasn't even involved. Patterson said, I was just trying to separate the two of them. I was going, Sonny, no, don't hurt him. You know, please, Sonny, don't hurt him. And fucking he's saying, don't hurt me. And it's not me, man. Now the patrolman says that's not true. They both beat the shit out of me and fucking rifled my pockets and everything else. So there are warrants against both of them. I love how it says police records show that in 1950, Liston was sentenced for 5 years in the penitentiary for 3 holdups. At that time, he gave his age as 22 years, which was 6 fucking years ago.
Right.
And now he's 24.
He's 28.
Maybe.
You think, James, letters escape him. You think numbers are going to hang on?
Yeah, no, it's true. That's tough.
Numbers
That's
don't have a fucking
really
chance.
Good point. Really good point. Police explain that the booking of assault with a deadly weapon is prescribed in the case of a professional fighter attacking a non-professional.
Yeah, this is different, right?
Hands. Yeah, his hands are, they're saying, are weapons. A member of the Missouri Athletic Commission announced today that Liston would be suspended in Missouri and that the National Boxing Association would be notified of the action. Okay. Mello here says, quote, I was making my relief corner and I passed an alley. A cab was parked in it with the lights on. From the entrance to the alley, I asked who the driver was. The driver came down and said his name was Patterson. I told him he could get a ticket, but I was going to let him move the cab. Then Liston came down and said, quote, you can't give him no ticket. He said, real rough like. The hell I can't, I said.
Officer.
It's the other thing. If you don't want tickets, don't tell cops they can't do that because they'll go, I'll find a way to write you a ticket. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, oh, man.
But that reply is certainly baiting. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to handle that a little better.
Absolutely. He was definitely trying to show, hey, I don't care who you think you're tough. I'll give you hell I can. Yeah, he wanted to be king of his little castle in his little corner there. He said, I took out my ticket book, flashlight, to get the city sticker off the cab. As I started over, Liston came over and gave me a bear hug from the front, lifted me clear off the ground. Jesus Christ. I didn't realize what was happening until he grabbed me, kind of caught me off guard. And then they got me in the dark part of the alley. Patterson says, get his gun.
Oh, my God.
The guy who said he was just breaking it up. We struggled and all 3 of us fell. Liston got my gun out. Then Patterson said, quote, shoot that white son of a bitch.
Oh, no.
Liston releases me and points the gun at my head. I'm pushing up on the barrel with both hands to keep from looking down that muzzle. They were walking all over me. I hollered, don't shoot me. Somebody heard, don't hurt me. Yeah. Liston let up all of a sudden, Mello said. Hit me over the left eye with either the gun or a fist. That's how hard he hits. You don't even know if you got pistol whipped or not. It took seven stitches.
Oh, my God.
Fuck, man. My left leg was broken in the knee, either from the fall or somebody stomping me. Then they run up the alley. That's the biggest man I ever, and he ... When he gave me that bear hug, I couldn't even get my toes on the ground. He appeared to be drinking. The fellows that arrested him had a little bit of trouble. What's his version, though? What does Sonny say?
What did Sonny say happened?
Sonny says, quote, I called a cab to come pick me up. I saw the cab pull up into the alleyway, and I hurried out of my house. Meanwhile, a cop came and told the cabbie he was going to give him a ticket. I said, how come you're going to give this cab a ticket? He's just doing his business. Then the cop turns to me and says, oh, boy. He says, you're a smart N-word.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And when I say I'm not smart, which he means in both ways, he means a smart aleck and not very bright, he reaches for his gun and tries to take it out of his holster, but I take it away from him. Later, the cop said I was drunk. Now, how could a drunk handle a sober cop trained to make arrests to pull his gun? I never drink hard liquor anyway. The only time I drink beer is when my trainer makes me.
Okay.
A lot of times after a hard fight, I get beat around the kidneys. My trainer makes me drink a beer to flush my kidneys out.
Is that right?
That I don't think that's the standard operating procedure anymore, I'm going to say. That's
It certainly works. You got to pee so fast.
What do you got, piss in your blood? Drink like a six-pack, I say. That'll clear it right out.
Emerson.
Jesus Christ.
That's fucking crazy.
Man. Now, Mitchell, his manager, says, if Sonny called me right away, I would have squelched it. Sonny doesn't drink. That's an old excuse. Racial slurs it was. Black son of a bitch, something like that. That would aggravate him. Sonny cannot drink. He gets sick.
Is that
so
right?
He said the guy probably said some shit he didn't want him to say, and that's what happened. So, sorry, hey.
So he's saying it was racist, and they probably were.
He said, Sonny wasn't drunk, and he probably did attack the cop. If the cop made a racial slur at him, Sonny would have fucking attacked him probably. So probably everybody's both sides are telling the truth here probably.
I only drink Stroh's for the health benefits.
Only for the health benefits. I have a nice cold Schlitz just to clean my kidneys out. That's all. So he's charged with assault to kill.
Really?
On this date. Yes, absolutely. And he will be suspended from boxing on July 15th, 1956 through 1957. He's going to be suspended for more than a good chunk of time, about a year.
How in the
year and a half. That's crazy. He's going to plead guilty to this charge of assault to kill and be sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off 9 months in a city workhouse.
What?
Which seems, they must have believed some of the stuff he said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That cop must have a fucking
They justified
history.
at least 6 of the stitches.
Exactly. So he also is arrested on October 4th, 1956 as well on suspicion of larceny there. So he's had quite the bit of a fucking mess.
I am shocked that this man was a contender.
Right? And where he came from, though, you're shocked that he could even win 14 fights or be anywhere, never mind be heavyweight champion later on. It's pretty impressive. You where he comes, if no one in your house knows when you were born, I got to kind of feel a little bit bad for you, no matter how dumb your decisions are. I mean, I feel bad for all the people in this story, Jimmy, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Charles Liston, a driver at Allstate in Newfoundland, New Jersey. Charles Liston, president at something. It doesn't say what. It's in the Atlanta, a company of some kind, metropolitan area.
He might also be a client.
It's possible. He could be. Charles Liston, controller / human resource manager at Solasby's Equipment and Attachments, LLC. Charles Liston, screen printer in Catteridge, Colorado. Charles Liston, truck driver at W.S. Badcock Corporation. Badcock. I like it. Thompson, Georgia. And finally, Charles Liston, gambling and casinos professional in London. And I say that because that will make sense in a couple of weeks in the later episodes, because he loves him a casino. And that's it. That's where we'll leave it today.
Oh,
that's where we'll leave part 1.
He's going 9 months to a public house?
A workhouse, city workhouse. So far, he's been arrested more times than he's had fights. So we've had that go on, more charges than fights. And I feel like, the next chunk of this is going to get into some more crime stuff that's going to take a while. So we'll start out our next episode, hit the ground running with fucking crazy-ass crime, and then we'll try to go through the Ali fight maybe in part 2. And then we might have a part 3 because his death is a big mystery and conspiracy theory and a big murder thing. So we're going to have to talk about that too. It's wild shit, but
first 2 hours is nailing down his birthday.
That is, we have his birthday down. He exists and he's a boxer. That we have that established. That's part 1.
Takes 2 hours.
Takes 2 hours to deal with that. That's what I'm saying, man. That is crazy shit.
Thank you, Sonny, for the gift that you are.
The gift that keeps on giving. This is why I've been saving this for 7 years. There's a reason why, and this is why, because holy shit, 350 episodes later, we're doing this episode because it's crazy. He makes Mike Tyson look boring. He really does. Like, compared to Tyson, this is so much better than the Tyson episode, by far.
And he's only a little bit less recognizable than Tyson, I think.
Oh,
in boxing, everybody knows who he is.
Yeah, if you know anything about boxing, you know who Sonny Liston is. I mean, that's a huge name. So there he is, everybody. Stay tuned next week for part 2 where we dive, like I said, hit the ground running with crime. It's just going to be hot and heavy. So check that out. And also, while you're at it, do us a favor. Give us a review. It helps a lot. Whatever app you're listening on, give us 5 stars. Say something nice. I know some of you have done it already, but some of you haven't. Get in there and do that. It really does help the show a lot. So if you wanted, a lot of people say, what can I do to help the show? That's what you can do. Tell a friend also. That always helps. And spread the word of the crime and sports movement. Let's do it, everybody. Also, follow us on social media for any kind of updates. We're at Crime and Sports on Facebook and Twitter, at Small Town Murder on Instagram as well. We post through that one. You certainly want to head over to shutupandgivememurder.com today for everything, all of your crime and sports and small town murder needs, all of your merchandise, tickets to live shows through the rest of the year. Next up, May 5th in Detroit, May 6th in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh might be sold out by now. I'm not sure, but you can check.
Detroit, there's a few. Let's go.
Get in there. Get in there. Detroit and Pittsburgh coming up May 5th and 6th. And then pretty much after that, everything is sold out till Chicago.
It's going to be crazy.
They're all sold out. I mean, San Diego, Denver, Minneapolis, all of them sold out. Then August the 12th, we will be in Chicago.
Yes.
Get there. If you're up in Milwaukee or that in the Wisconsin area, we don't have a Milwaukee show this year. We don't have a Wisconsin show at all. We'd like to have one, but it didn't work out. So come to Chicago. Chicago people came up there for you. Come on down and make this the biggest fucking show we've ever done, everybody.
It's going to be enormous.
It's going to be so much fun. So do that and come hang out with us, please. And also like Dallas at the end of the year, Atlanta, Charlotte, there's still tickets left. So get your tickets right now for all of those. And April the 20th especially, get your tickets for the virtual live show.
It's going to be nuts.
It's nuts. Just like a regular live show. All the pictures, all the crazy shit, except you're in your living room. Everything's going to look the same, just like you were sitting in a theater, but you're not. You're in your living room, and we're performing just for you. And we hope you love it. We've had people have loved them so far, and it's 420, so we're going to get Jimmie super stoned. I have bought multiple different apparatus to fuck him up with, and because it's funny, because you go, oh my God. Your eyes get big and scared when I start doing weed stuff. You're like, how are you doing? What are you putting in there? Oh my God. Crumble too? No more hash also? Shit. And then we're going to tell Jimmie a murder story, and we're going to laugh and laugh and laugh. It's going to be so much fun. That's April 20th. It's also available for 7 days after that to watch, to purchase, to do whatever. So get in there. Shutupandgivememurder.com is where you get that. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you're going to get all the bonus materials, and we do a ton of stuff. We're not taking your $5 and leaving you hanging out there. No. Anybody $5 or above, you're going to get, there's almost 200 back episodes of bonus shit to binge on. Then every other week, you're going to get 2 new ones. So we keep them coming. Oh, set your watch to it, baby. For Crime and Sports this week, which of course you get, we're going to talk, we're going to do personal ads again. It's one of our most popular things. So fun. Try to do it about twice a year, and personal ads are coming. We cannot wait. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to go back to another very popular series, our Serial Killer Childhood series, which are always fun. And
remember that T-shirt in the 90s that had Bird, Jordan, and Magic as children with the jerseys
yes,
on?
Yes. The big long jerseys down on their knees.
That's what I see.
That's what it is. See BTK and Richard Ramirez and Ted Bundy all walking with too long of a rope over his shoulder, dragging behind him because he's not tall enough.
A clear mask up over the top of his head. Pulled up.
Yeah. You see that. Dahmer's glasses are even bigger on his face. They're even huger.
We should make that T-shirt.
That's a great T-shirt. That is a great. You know what? We're making that T-shirt as babies. Serial killer childhoods. We're going to talk about BTK's childhood because he is gross and he's just a creep in his childhood. The way he describes things is so fucking creepy, like everything else. You definitely want to hear that. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all that. And of course, you get a shout out. And Jimmie, when do you get that shout out? Right goddamn now, Jimmie, hit me with the names of the people who would never, ever, ever, ever beat us over the head in an alley and take our guns, even if, well, we wouldn't make racial slurs at them. So tell you what, just give me the names of some nice people that we like very much. Hit me with them right now.
This week's executive producers are Jens Christian Kraus, or Jans, What is that? Jens? Is it Jens?
Jens?
Yeah. It's got to be Jens.
Is he Pittsburgh?
Right?
I don't know.
Thank
you, Jens and Jens and Jens and Jens. We appreciate it.
Shannon Short, Raptor 1, happy birthday. Obviously, that is from Raptor 2.
Clearly.
They talk to each other in Raptor 1 and Raptor 2.
Raptor 1 and Raptor 2.
Don't do that in bed. That's weird.
No, that'd be weird.
Soggy Bottom Soaps. Buy soaps from them, I suppose. Rex, 500R. I imagine he rides a Honda. That sounds right. Dylan Glukert. Glue? It's a fucking fascinating name, Dylan. Other producers this week are the Fat Penguin from the Blues Brothers, Peyton Meadows, Robert Tosky, Ivan the Polish Hammer, Polish.
Putsky. Yeah.
Yeah. Who is he?
Ivan Putsky. He's a wrestler from the 70s and 80s.
He's a Polish hammer.
He's the Polish power, Ivan Putsky.
Yeah. Polish and Polish are spelled the exact same way.
They are. You really have to look at context when you're reading that word.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
Could be the Polish hammer. Well, there's a Polish hammer, right? It's a tool.
You dumb Pollock.
Mitch Cumstein.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Turhey, Thorson, Holland. Turgey.
Yeah. Thank you.
Eros Whiskey and Tequila at Centeno Kennels. Edward Gatto, the cat. Matthew Reinbold, Janice Hill, Aaron Bridges, Tammy Brown, Buffy Riley, Phil DeGrief, Phil your DeGrief, Kathleen Lincoln, Alex Fichera, Sarah Mock, Jesselyn DeGroff, Ethan Page, David Huwalt, Andrew Henriquez. And Henriquez? I've never heard that one. I've heard of Enrique. All right. Kara Kirby.
Lyle. What do you want? You heard of Pietragallo before you met me? Probably not.
That name doesn't exist, Andrew. How dare you?
Dare you?
Lyle North, Lucas Kirby, Crystal Dawn, Foxhound 11, Kristen with no last name, Riley Sereno, Billy Niner, Joanna Roney, Alicia Reynolds Manier, Karen Gridley, Ricky Newell, Cheryl Augusto, Jake Plotes, Michael Sturgis, Amanda Stemp, Corey Long, Sex Spam, 86, Jake Logan, Josh Craig, Erica Plachter, Jeff M., Andrea Gillette, and Jeremy Ames, Smalls with no last name, Alicia with no last name, David Jaskula, Patrick with no last name, Marissa Dillon, June Morris, Miss Birchstead. Oh, she was going to bring devil dogs to you somewhere. I forget where. You needn't do that, James.
Oh, I have devil dogs now.
Has so
I
many
live in New
devil
York.
dogs.
I can get them any day right down the street. Thank you, though. Thank you.
Todd Layton, A with no last name, just the letter A. Doug M. Marie with no last name. This show brought to you by the letter A. Stanley Pierre, Miss Kelsey Galbraith, Tina Lucignolo. Luzinolo? How do you even say that? Jennifer Wilson, John Kelly, Christopher Steininger, Christopher and Carmela Sturrat, Laura with no last name, Heather Leger, Gadmar, G, Beach Klein, Tiffany Jones, Spencer Duncan Cook, Paula Lundstrom, Elena Ewaltz, Megan Hendrickson, Dwayne Drury. Fuck, that's a tough one. John Nieswender? I don't know. Simone Hawkins, Courtney Sassone, Annalise DePeel, that's French, yes. Dr. Gip, Melinda Noble, Mark Cole, Chris with no last name, Jennifer Keefe, D. Paul Guyette, Jason Salling, Sarah M., Amy Hills, Hala,
sure.
What is it?
I don't know. I said, sure. Why not?
Okay. I thought you said
be whatever.
chair.
Call yourself whatever you want. I don't know.
Hala Alzabi, Derry Sharpton, Lucy with no last name, Luke with no last name, Arlo Chrisman, Terry Henderson, Tim Ruggiero, Chris Jones, Todd Shamblin, Nevin Otley, Amy Gustafson, Kyle Franklin, Robert Postlethwaite, Aaron Chaffee, Brenda Crump, Kat Sutton, Suzanne Schmidt, India Hauser, Sadie McIver, Is that maybe like Bonavide? Okay. Kelly Cargill.
You try to figure it out as you're on the fly. Like you're going to get to the bottom of it.
Kelly Cargilotti. Bella Mazzari.
Yeah.
Jamie Stevens, Donna Edwards, Brandy Mendel, Dragon's Fire, Kristen Scobie, Princess Cluse, Brooke Gerzinia. What? Broke Gerzinia. Okay, maybe it's Brooke. Charles Berman
Broke
III.
Gerzinia? I don't know.
Cecilia Fasano, Ben with no last name, Sarah Edgar, Elizabeth Carey, Isabel Gabrielle, Greg with no last name, Carla Dorina Gabriel. Isabel Gabriel, that's what it is. Kyle Hart, Kim Hollander, Ryan Milligan, Anthony Davis, probably not that one. Megan Rose, Josh Escamilla, Angel J, Alicia Lawrence, MJ Vieira, Eric England, Jake Keller, Karen Elise, Ryan. Oh boy, Cryanhagen, Mike Kellogg, Paul Gutierrez III, Dirty D, Gross, Terrell with no last name, Jaylee, Scotty with no last name, Scotty Gaviola, Jody Clinkerton Valesky, wow, Nina Slowinska, Ashley Fife, Paul Sipar, what is that? CIPA, Sipar, the second. Sound it out, Whisman.
What is
Chloe Hopkins, Jace Grandquist, Thomas with no last name, Veronica with no last name, Kate with no last name, Stacy Collins, Hollow Rain, Raymond Roberts, Justin Bone, Christy Massey, Ashley Bosch, Frederick Commandy, James, nope, that's Smith James. Is that James Smith? Jackson with no last name, Candy Long, Meredith Krieger, Misty in L-Town, Noel Rossi, it might be I-Town, I don't know. BJ
Rossi.
Vogel, Insane Assassin, Jay Bird, Tara C, and all of our patrons, you're fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for all that you do for us and for all that you've done for us and continue to do do for us. Thank you. We hope you love Patreon because we hope you do. Shit.
We love making it.
We love making it. It's a whole separate thing now.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's not even like this show. It's a different show, but fucking great stuff on there. God damn it. Thank you for hanging with us on there. If you want to get a hold of either one of us on social media, real easy to do that. All the links are right there at shutupandgivememurder.com. So when you're getting your tickets, you go, let me follow these two fucking dipshits, and you can do that as well. We're happy. Call us dipshits all you want. Not on social media, though, because we'll tell you to fuck yourself. But don't be a dick. But
don't do it publicly. DM
but yeah, privately be like dipshits, and we're like, yeah, totally. We get it. So do that. Keep hanging with us. Keep coming back because we're going to be back next week with more Sonny Liston live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus